Guys, I'm Leona, or also known as Mrs. Worldwide, and today I'm interviewing Kryptonian.
What's
What
going
is
on?
up?
What is going on? Hey, thanks for the invite. I felt like I was just on a live, which I was just a few hours ago. It seems like yesterday. So yeah, thanks for the invite. I've been
Yeah,
watching you interview all the other guys, and it's been pretty cool watching that stuff. I've learned a lot
yeah,
about
for
them.
sure.
Even though I talked to a lot of them backstage, it's cool to. I was telling the guys the other night that I know them because we talk. We go backstage, and that's when we do all the real. That's where the real conversations happen, right?
Yeah,
And
I always dip out for those.
yeah, right. And so those are fun, and then we get to really like kind of just open up to each other. And so to have the affirmation of what they're telling you during your interviews, the questions that you were asking, it's like, yeah, I mean that it just reaffirms everything. Like, these are the guys that I know. So it's
Yeah,
pretty
so
cool.
they like really are genuine because that's what they
Yeah,
tell
yeah,
me back, and then they're telling me the same thing. So
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah, they're very nice guys, man. They're all. I like the people in this community, and I mean, I haven't been in crypto that long, but just a few years. And well, I've been in Bitcoin, obviously, everybody knows that, but I haven't really jumped
yeah,
into a community discords and into YouTube on YouTube channels or anything like that. Especially Discord. The TCL community was the first one I think I gravitated towards and then jumped in, and the
right,
rest is
right.
history. I just realized there are so many people out there, great people. You know,
Okay, well, first things first.
right?
If you guys haven't noticed, I'm wearing a costume.
That's amazing.
So since
Yeah.
we're going to Kryptonians later,
Welcome
I
to
had to do it
Kryptonian.
up.
Yeah. I,
Yes. So what's that about?
my alias is the last son of Krypton, and obviously it's a play on words. Obviously, not Krypton with a K from Superman. Obviously,
Yeah.
if you look at of course, I'm a DC guy. If I had a superhero, I'd emulate it'd be Superman. Of course, who wouldn't, right? But I liked Krypton. What I liked about if everybody knows the Superman story, his roots. His planet was kind of if the comic book story, his planet, his home was blown up or it exploded or whatever, so he came to Earth or whatever. So the way that's kind of how I see Krypton or crypto, the crypto space. It's like a new world for everybody. So I
Oh,
imagine like Superman, like we're all. I mean, I think human beings are amazing. We
right.
are amazing super creatures compared to everything else. You know. On Earth and all the other species. So I mean, we all have our certain, I think, our gifts and things that I believe solely that your gifts will make room for you. Whoever you are. So I like to consider us all Supermen and women, right, to some degree.
Yeah.
We're not perfect, but we have amazing abilities if we would just tap into them. So crypto, I see the crypto space. I see it as that it's a new world for everybody. So that's
Hmm.
why. So that's why I chose Kryptonian, and it kind of just I love it, and of course the Superman theme, obviously, and then
Yeah.
that goes without saying, right? I mean, who doesn't know Superman? So for me, it was an easy pick, right? So
Yeah. So you got deep with your name. I mean,
yeah,
when I asked Peanut Butter about his name, it was
like
like,
I don't like jelly, so I chose
I like
peanut
peanut
butter,
butter.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we
Yeah.
established we don't. He and I both. I love almonds, chocolate covered almonds. I love almonds. That's my favorite. I think nut. I think,
Yeah.
but he did. I asked if he liked almond butter. It's supposed to be an alternative to peanut butter. Hell no, that stuff's nasty, right? So I know that much. He definitely loves peanut butter.
Yeah, yeah. So it's cool, but now it doesn't say it anymore. So I go to call him peanut butter, and I
Yeah,
feel
crypto.
weird now because it says Crypto Terry, and I'm like, ah,
I call him Pastor Terry now, man. Like
I
Pastor,
know. Wasn't that
just see him,
cool?
and I'm like, yeah.
Who knew? You
Yeah,
heard it here first.
actually, it makes sense because he walks extremely. The guy is, he's a real martial artist. Okay, so, and he's a very humble guy. Okay, when you talk to him, he's very quiet and soft spoken on stage,
Right.
and backstage he's the same way. But when he does interject or he does ask questions or I guess engages in the conversations, his whole the way he dialogues is it's very it's very methodical. Like he doesn't just speak; he really listens and then he talks. So that tells me he's a great listener, which means he can actually counsel people, right? Because he's actually listening to what
Yeah.
people have to say. So yeah, so when I realized, from your interview that Pastor, I was like, well, that makes sense because
Yeah.
he just kind of he's a great listener. So and
Yeah, he is.
every now and then he'll throw some words of wisdom at me, in DMs or whatever. So I appreciate him. I really do. Yeah. And
Yeah,
he lives in
yeah.
Texas. So,
I know.
so there you go. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. It was good talking to him and learning about him. I definitely never saw the pastor coming, but
Yeah, yeah.
it's not out of the realm, of like possibilities.
Of
But
course,
that
of
was pretty
course.
nice to know. I was
It,
like,
it's
that's
it
crazy.
adds so much. I think diversity is such a cliche-ish word, right? Or diversify. But what's truly, I mean, that word is just so it's just it's just such a cliche to say it, and it's almost overused. I think it's so saturated, right? But when you think
Yeah, well,
about
it adds depth,
it,
you
does
know.
it does add. Well, yeah, of course it does. But I think when someone says, "Oh, we have such a diverse community," but do you really know what that means? And I think you having these interviews actually it realizes helps people to realize the depth of who we really are.
Yeah,
You
yeah, I
know,
think
so
so too.
yeah, so this is a really good thing that you're doing. People get to know. I mean, they know who I am. And those that watch it want to even listen
Well,
to me.
to an extent,
Oh,
there's
they
going to be
know they
things.
know I'm crazy according to Prado, right? There have been polls, and you guys know how I feel
No,
about polls.
his
But
poll said that you weren't crazy, and then I
oh
think
yeah, yeah,
Chris Cruz's poll said that you were.
yeah, I
So
want to
the
crazy. Yeah,
jury's still
it,
out on that.
it was like 50-50, right? Yeah,
It was
and I
pretty
promise I didn't vote.
close.
Yeah,
But I think they think he's that Prado's crazy too. So I
yeah,
think they think you're both in there.
yeah, I think he's my alter ego. If I yeah, I think if I lived on the east
Kinda.
side of the United States, I'd be a Prado most likely. One thing, and
Yeah.
I think Prado would be and if he lived in Texas, we're really the same guy in a sense where we really when we believe
Everyone
something,
sees it.
yeah, yeah, like we're gonna say what we mean, and we mean what we say,
Yeah.
and there isn't no shaking us. However, we're both open minded. He is very open minded. I mean, there are some things he and I go back and forth, but we've had conversations backstage where he's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
we're like real conversations, and he's like, no, I hear what you're saying. So, but I definitely appreciate his passion. Um, because at the end of the day, I don't want to talk to brick walls. I mean, it's boring. It's boring when you're having a conversation with somebody and they just like, yeah, 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 I agree with you. It's not fun,
Yeah.
you know?
I'm not into the yes men either. I need like
Yeah, no.
honesty. I mean, I
Yeah,
like to say, speak the truth in love. So don't be like a jerk,
yeah,
but
yeah.
don't lie to me
That's
either.
right. That's right. And just because the whole, and that's another thing's overused, to love one another. To
Hmm.
love someone doesn't mean I'm not going to hurt your feelings. I may
Right.
hurt your feelings because I love you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what real love is. It's like no, there is no compromise. I'm going to tell you what's right, whether you like it or not, or if even if it puts you off so much, we're not friends anymore. If
Yeah.
if it, and I'm talking not what I think is right, if what we all know as human beings is right, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that's what real friends do, and that's what real love is to really truly, I say it all the time: do right and fear no man. You know,
Yeah.
and that statement that I say all the time. I used to say quite often. That's one of my principles that I try to follow. Is actually all my principles. The base is love that I have for people. And one of the things I also say, and I truly just I live by is to give love to all and hatred to none.
Yeah.
That's and anytime I'm in a conversation with anybody, especially when I'm like, okay, we're going at it, we're debating. I have to remind myself, okay, I love this guy. I gotta pull back a little bit. Gotta show
Yeah.
some love
Sometimes we need reminders and sometimes we need to remind ourselves.
for sure.
But
Yeah,
it's just part of being human. So let's go back a little bit to the
sure.
beginning of Kryptonian, um, mini Kryptonian, if you will. But you seem to have like a warrior like mentality.
Warrior.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, like I said, Dano's in there too. So I like to imagine if you guys were like out on the battlefield, you guys would probably be back to back doing what you got to do.
Yeah, Prado is going to be the guy, and I actually told him this one time. He and I got in the heated discussion many times, as everyone knows. um, but we do text each other. We are part. He has my number. I have his.
Yeah.
And one thing about him is when he realizes, okay, or even if I like, hey man, I think I crossed a line in most cases, we'll reach out to each other. But I did tell him one time, and he can attest to this, that at the end of the day, you and I disagreed on just about everything. But I would rather have you by my side in a battlefield than a guy that I don't know where he stands. At least I know
Right.
at the end of the day, you're going to want to do the right thing. Whether I think it's the wrong thing or not, you are going to be like, you're not going to back down. And that's, and as a man, that's what we want. We want people in our circle that will not back down when the shit hits the fan. Sorry for cursing, because people, when the lights get turned on, people scatter. Oh, roaches scatter, as you often hear. Because truth will do that, right? Obviously, truth reveals so many things, especially about us as men and people. Yeah, I just want people around me that I may not agree with you in most cases, or some of the times, but at least I know where I
Yeah.
stand with you. I don't
Yeah,
have to
like on the
guess
fundamentals, I
on
think.
the fundamentals. Yeah,
Yeah, I like honestly, like morally, the two of you fundamentally, you're like 8.9 out of 10. You agree. There's just this other things, the way things are presented and stuff that I've noticed that you guys disagree on. But
yeah, yeah.
um,
And I think the disagreements come solely from culture. We come from different
yeah,
cultures.
yeah, yeah,
And I think I heard you say, maybe it was to NR or someone else, but he is of Cuban and Puerto Rican descent. So
yeah.
he's a Latin brother, whether he likes to admit it or not. So,
No, he
he,
does.
yeah,
Yeah,
I know, but you would, but I'm just joking. But, so he and I are certainly, obviously I'm Latino. So that's where the passion comes from,
yeah,
because
especially Cuban and Puerto Rican.
yeah, oh yeah. So I had a really good friend years ago I used to work with. He went to my church that I went to years ago, and he was Puerto Rican. He was from the Bronx. He was from New York, right? And he moved to Texas. And God, dog, he reminds me of Prado so much, man. Just
That's
the
so
way he is,
crazy.
the way he is, and it's not a bad. That's a good thing, because Prado seems very familiar to me, and that's probably
Okay.
why, in a good way, which is why I think I can engage with him and probably cross the line sometimes, because
Yeah, because you know you're safe there. You know.
yeah, yeah, I know, because he's like, bring it, bring it. And I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
so yeah,
and you're
which is
like, all
cool,
right.
which is cool, which is cool, which is no
Yeah.
problem at all.
Excuse me. So because of that warrior like mentality, would you say that comes from the way you grew up?
Yeah, I would absolutely say that. So the story of me is, I was raised by, my parents were uh, divorced when I think I was 2 years old or so. So my
Oh
dad,
wow.
yeah, so my dad raised me as a single father, and my dad was a Marine, as you guys, everybody knows. He suffers from PTSD, and I didn't realize this. I didn't realize that growing up, because
Yeah.
I grew up with my dad, but it wasn't until I was probably in my late teens, already going into adulthood, where I realized that my dad is different from other fathers. Because I had friends, best friends, and their dads were truly engaged and conversations, and just very active in their lives. My dad would just provide for me. He gave me a place to sleep, food to eat, and he kept me safe, and he made sure that I went to school and kept me out of trouble. Anytime I needed him, he was there. And at the end of the day, he would just drop these quotes on me all the time. He would just say things to me, you know, do right and fear no man. Like, what? He would just say stuff like that, right? Like the
Yeah.
stuff that I
Like out of
say
nowhere.
out of nowhere. Like, I'm like, what? I
Yeah.
mean, and one thing about, and he would say so many things to me, and it just kind of, as I grew into adulthood, I just started remembering these things. Not that I lived by them in my early days of being an adult. As a kid, it didn't matter. You don't know any better. But as I'm adulting and I'm making millions of mistakes,
Yeah.
I began to realize there's got to be something, like, okay, there's got to be something I've got to latch onto, that some sort of compass it's gonna ground me and point me north. And it was my dad, and as I
Mm.
remember now, he was just, he never said much, but whenever he said something, it was profound. And it was, and then he would talk, and then it would be, like, we wouldn't talk at all. So I guess I grew up kind of longing for that type of relationship with a father that my friends had. Go
Right. Yeah.
play catch with me, dad. Take me fishing, take me hunting. My dad didn't do any of that. He just worked, slept, worked, slept.
Mm.
He used to take me to bars, pool halls. So I remember being very young, 5,
Mhm.
6, 7, 8 years old, growing up, all probably up until about 10, 11, in pool
Yeah.
halls. So I learned to play pool with all his friends, and that's kind of where I grew up. So I was always around older men, talking bar talk. So I was always around adult conversations. So I think
Right.
so I think that really helped me to develop into, as I became a young man.
Hmm.
My mindset was already, I was already thinking like I was already thinking like I was 20, thinking like a 30-year-old already, in a sense.
Yeah.
You know,
That's how my boys kind of are.
yeah, and my dad. One thing about my dad is, most kids growing up, especially if they have both parents, or maybe they're with just a mom, the mom's going to do the baby talk to them, and talking like little babies and
Yeah,
stuff. And
I never did that, but I know what you mean. I
yeah,
hate
yeah.
that.
Well, I'm sure Prado didn't let that happen. He's like, these are
No, it
boys.
was
Yeah,
at work.
yeah.
But
Oh, there you
I
go.
just
Oh,
since it was me by myself a lot because he was working, and the same
gotcha.
with my ex-husband, I was just like, I can't be a punk with these
Yeah,
kids.
you
They're gonna
can't. Oh man,
the boys
especially
are gonna run like right over me.
that's right. That's right. And so my dad never talked to me like I was a little kid. He always talked to me as long when he would talk to me. I always just it was like I was an adult. And
Yeah,
he would ask me, "Do you understand what I'm saying?" And I was like, "No." And he's like, "Well, let's talk about it." He would make sure that I understood exactly what he meant, and
well, that's good.
I needed to be able to convey that right back to him before he would end
Hmm.
the conversation. So those are the type of conversations. So he used to tell me all the time that everything in life is a teachable moment, and I never used to know. And I used to think, oh, whatever. I used to think he was so boring,
Yeah, it
yeah,
is
whatever.
boring. Learning
Yeah,
is boring.
yeah, well, I mean, I'm thinking, oh, why? I would tell him, why is everything got to be a freaking, a lesson with you? I would get so
Yeah,
mad
a
at him.
lecture or a lesson.
Yeah, but now as I'm 46 years old now, I just turned 46. I appreciate all that stuff because now, I have two daughters. I don't have any sons, but I have two daughters, and I got remarried. Two daughters from my first marriage. I got remarried. Now I have two stepdaughters,
Oh,
who were
so wow, now you got four
I got four daughters.
girls.
Yeah, four girls. Yeah, yep.
So you're almost up to NR, but not
Oh
there.
no, yeah, yeah. No, NR's got an eight.
They're all
but
girls
but
though.
yeah,
Like,
but NR and I both have girls, right? So that's
yeah.
NR is he's my brother from another mother, 100%. He and
Well, I
I
mean,
just he
especially
and
with
I
the
he and
girl
I
dad
he and I
thing,
click right away. Yeah,
guns
we,
and
we just have
girls.
yeah, we get each other, right? And
Yeah.
and we have a very similar relative to the fathers. I mean, I remember talking about
Yeah.
his dad. My dad was in my life physically and provided for me, but emotionally, he wasn't
Right.
where most boys need, from a father. And it was because of what my dad went through, with the whole being in Vietnam and everything. But back to the warrior thing, that kind of cultivated I think my upbringing
Hmm.
of if it's got to be, it's up to me. You know,
Yeah.
if I'm gonna bet on anyone, bet on myself.
Hmm.
So I've always had that. If it's gonna be done, I got, and it almost to my detriment where I was like, I was very, I didn't want to. I was especially when I started my business. I started hiring people, and I would go out and acquire a client or a customer, and I'd work my butt off to build this relationship with them where they trust me. And now I'm going
Yeah.
to bring someone in, and hopefully, you got to make sure you're going to manage this client. You're going to love them as much as I do, and they never do, right?
No, of course
So it was
not.
hard for me to let go. I was really hard for me to let go of what I thought this is mine, and it took a
Yeah,
while. So that was at my detriment where it really stunt, I think, the growth of my business for a long time. It
because you
wasn't
were like a micromanager.
not a micromanager. I didn't trust.
Yeah.
I always say, inspect what you expect.
Yeah.
Trust but verify, right? I mean, there's nothing wrong with trust but verify. I trust what you're saying, but I'm gonna have to verify it. It's not that I don't trust you. It's just I don't trust. I don't trust that I don't know that I know. You know how I believe is
No,
Indian
man,
one.
I don't trust people, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
why I do a lot by myself. And
yeah,
people be like, "Oh, you need help?" Yeah, I do, but you're not going to help me the way I need you to help me. So just
yeah.
beat it. I'll drag it across the room myself.
Yeah, exactly. And the problem with that is, and I'm sure you can agree, is it sometimes it's very lonely because
Yeah.
everybody get them away. I'll do it, and they're like, "Well, I'll help you." No, 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 I got this. And you end up getting it done, and you realize, and especially for me, I realize I've pushed people away in that regard. I'm like, they were offering the help, and I'm talking about with my business, with family,
Yeah.
friends, relationships. So I learned it took. I think in my 20s, I didn't know any better. In my 30s is when it really got pretty bad for me. Meaning, where I just thought I could do it all. Especially as a man, you just think you're
Yeah.
invincible. And towards the end of my 30s, I realized I don't know what I don't know. You know.
Yeah, I'll ask for help in that sense where, like, if I don't know, I ask questions. But if it's something that I want done a certain way, and if someone offers me help, like, if you're the kind of person who'll be like, okay, what do you need? And I tell you I need ABC, don't come with DEF. There's going to be an issue. Like, I didn't
That's
ask you. Number
that's
one.
right.
Two, you offered. Just do what I ask you to do
Yeah,
after
yeah,
you offered to help me. So, no, I
yeah.
totally get it.
No, you're
And it
right.
can be,
That's it.
can be
That
lonely.
is so simple because I'm my personality is this, do what you say you're gonna do, right?
Yes.
At the end of the day,
Yes.
if you say you're gonna be here, right?
Yeah.
And then when you're here, actually be here. Don't
Yeah.
especially
And
with
you know
guys.
what?
Yeah.
Do it like my mom always said, like give joyfully, do it with joyful heart. So like if like
Mm-hmm.
I tell the boys like don't I because I say whizzed off like instead of like pissed off because it just sounds funny to me. But I'd be like, don't be all whizzed off. Like do it. Like I don't cook here and I throw the pots and pans all around. Like I got food allergies. I don't eat 99% of the food I cook. And I got to wash the dishes and I got to put them away. And I still got to make the food, smell it, and all that stuff and not eat it. You don't see me kicking the dishes around, throwing pots and pans, throwing your
Yeah.
food across the room, like pick it up off the floor and eat it. You know, none of these things.
Yeah.
So
Man,
when
they
I
don't.
ask them to do something, I'm like, don't get all pissy.
Yeah,
You know,
it's like you realize what I just did for you. Like
yeah,
I mean, like all this, like yeah,
all the time.
yeah, all the time.
Yeah,
As I've gotten older, having daughters, I've got two adulting daughters who, I love obviously dearly. I call them my first and second heartbeats. Like when my oldest daughter just celebrated her birthday, and of course I'm gonna be dad. I'm gonna be the first to tell her happy birthday, and I always start off with, you will always be my first heartbeat. And then for my second daughter, she's my second heartbeat. Now I've got two stepdaughters who I love to death.
yeah.
They're literally they're 8 and 12. They're
Oh
literally
wow,
yeah, they're
they're
literally
little.
yeah, they're literally I would say mirrors of my adult daughters. It's like it's weird
That's
because
funny.
it's like they have the personalities, so it's so familiar to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I love them. They're the sweetest things. I have such an amazing wife. I'm blessed to be in her life. I mean, she's uh, you know, uh, and when I got married and I had friends like, why are you getting married again? As a man, we all want purpose, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I can go out there make a ton of money, but I can't take it with me, you know.
Right.
But what I can take with me is the love and the relationships that I get to acquire along the way, right? And manage and be a
Yeah.
part of. And to me, family is just it's everything. So my wife, what one of the things that really I fell in love with is her family is so close. Like when I first started talking to her and we started dating, it was like every week, every 2 or 3 times a week, we got to go have dinner with this cousin and our
Yeah.
parents.
So and so's birthday
Yeah.
and
And I'm
blah
just
blah
like,
blah.
I
Yeah.
mean, we did that with my family, but it was a smaller family. But,
Yeah.
and my ex-wife was Asian, right? So my daughters are half Asian. So the family was super small, like my ex-wife's family.
Yeah.
They were from her parents were from Vietnam, Cambodia, the whole
Okay.
the killing fields. If you've seen that movie, you understand what Pol Pot. So back there in the Vietnam War, when the Vietnam War was happening in Cambodia, his name was Pol Pot. While the war was going on between North and South of Vietnam, he's basically a neighboring country. He took it upon himself to start literally like genocide on his own people.
Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah,
No.
it's horrible. Yeah, I mean, people. I mean, it's a horrible time in history. Well, my ex-wife's mom and dad got to get away. They're refugees from Cambodia. They
Right.
came to the states. They met literally at the camp here in the U.S.
That's
and
crazy.
yeah, and then of course they became American citizens, and
Yeah.
so they love America. Like
Right.
to me, I
That's
mean, I
how
know,
Danny's mom is. It's kind of like crazy sometimes, but I get it. I
yeah,
totally get it.
yeah, and so that's where I get my dad fought for the country. So while my
Yeah.
dad was in Vietnam, getting shot at, lost his best friend, on so many horrific things.
Your in-laws were coming here.
Yeah, yeah. When my in-laws came here, my ex mother-in-law, she had like 5 children, and like that, they were all gone except two, her actual one.
Oh my
She was
God.
able to bring one with her, which was my ex's older sister and
Yeah.
her brother, and then my ex mom's brother. So she brought them here. They were 12, 13 years old, and they basically she had to say this was my son rather than my brother, and they grew up brother and sister. Both of them came over here to America from a country where their leaders were killing them off. Came over here to
That's
America, started
crazy.
businesses, learned English, became American citizens, and are thriving. Are so wealthy. Okay, from another
Nice.
country. Yeah, they didn't grow up here like we did. You
Yeah.
know, they came over here and they really took the opportunity. So I saw that, right? But,
Hmm.
but the last thing I'll say about my ex mother in law is it was probably a few years into the marriage where she got a phone call and she hears we found your other children. We found your other daughter that you thought had passed because
Oh my gosh, that's
because
great.
they separated families. I mean,
Yeah,
imagine this, Leona. Right now, the government comes in and they take your boys away. Okay, and you don't see them
very
until you're
crazy.
70, and you're thinking they're gone and past, or you don't know what happened to them, and you find out they've got families. I mean, can you imagine that? That's such a mind.
No.
Right. Well, that's what happened. We get a phone call, realize that they found the daughter, one of her daughters. It was
Hmm.
so emotional for everybody, right?
Yeah,
So, and we sent her to Cambodia. She got to see her. So my whole take on the world is
yeah,
that changed my worldview on a lot of things.
yeah. I'm
Obviously, I
sure.
love America. I mean, I'm American. Um, but when I got to really experience firsthand what's happening in other countries that don't have the I would say the rights, the security, and
Yeah.
most importantly, that's why to me the Second Amendment is, and I know you're probably gonna ask about that one probably, but the Second Amendment is so important because one of the first things that they did in Cambodia before they started killing off their own people was what? What did they do?
Oh,
They
I don't know. Oh,
they
they
dis
disarmed them.
they disarmed them.
Yeah,
They disarmed them. So I actually have my daughters, their grandma, her husband there at the time, because she was married before she met my ex-wife's husband. He was actually my ex-wife's dad. He was part of the military police. He was a policeman over in Cambodia. They disarmed him. Yeah,
that's
it was like you're
crazy.
either gonna serve Pol Pot or you're not. And it's just straight up, it was just horrible. Anyways, they disarmed the people, and then of course, and the rest is history. So that's why I can sit here and say from my cold dead hands, because it's happened. It didn't happen in 1942. This
Oh, it's
happened.
happening all over the place.
This happened in 1976, 70,
Yeah,
75, 74. I'm born in 77. So just a few years before I was born, it was happening. So think about
yeah,
that, right? It didn't happen 1,000 years ago. So that's why I'm
yeah.
so passionate about, our rights here. But anyways, so back to the warrior thing. I guess to answer your question, that comes from just the way my dad raised me. And I've always kind of had to just kind of grow up and
Hmm.
make things happen on my own because that's the way that my dad did it. Either you're going to make it happen or it ain't going to happen.
Yeah,
So I go in, I never go in with the expectation of failing. I never expect to fail. I expect to succeed. And if I
yeah,
don't get the success that I'm looking for, I expect to learn why I didn't succeed and can hit and carry on. And that's
yeah.
just the way I approach everything. Right. So
I
I
think
hope
that's a great approach
cool.
for
Thanks.
sure. Let's go to the comments and see who we have out here. We got Biz Entertainment says, "Let's go."
What's up, Biz? Biz is
Robert
always back in the
Doucette.
shadows, man.
Oh yeah, he said mod me up. So I feel like
Oh,
I'm coming up, now I need
oh
a
yeah, yeah.
moderator.
He will take care of you. Yeah, he'll keep you on point, 100%.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. We've talked in the
Yeah,
background for Danny's stuff, so
I think he's AI, man. I don't think he's real. He's too perfect.
I'm a bit of a researcher,
Yeah, all
so
right.
I actually know what he looks like.
Oh well, of course, yeah.
Yeah,
I know that
but
he's. I just know that he's reliable and
oh yeah,
it,
yeah, yeah, for sure.
he's integrous and it's cool because we'll be DMing and stuff in Discord and he'll be throwing some stuff at me, especially after our lives. And like he knows when I get heated, he knows when I'm losing my shit.
Was he like talk you down a little bit?
he's always the guy that comes in. Hey man, look, great show. Look, and he'll yeah, he talks me down a lot, man.
That's
So
good.
I really appreciate that guy. Yeah, he keeps me
Yeah,
on
he and
point.
I don't talk too much, but I'll say every now and then I'll say something like to him or funny or whatever, and he'll just like, he'll laugh or he'll be like shh, or whatever, which I think it's funny. But let's see who else we got. Oh, Robert Doucette, am I number one? I don't know whose channel you're on, but it's not mine, so I don't know.
I don't even know if I'm
Vulcan
streaming to my channel.
Maniac.
Let me stream to mine
Let's
real quick.
Vulcan go. Hold on, we got a lot of comments from Shane. Shane said, "Me never was a Superman fan, just me though. Get out of here, Shane." Just joking.
Nah, it's okay, man. It's okay, bro. You're probably a Supergirl fan. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I'm
Um,
Supergirl. I've been
there you go.
Supergirl for years. I got the blonde wigs. I just didn't want to go that hard tonight because that would be a little much.
Yeah, of course, of course. But hey, Shane, what do you like? Are you a DC? You're a Marvel? You're are you
Let's
Star
see what
Trek?
he says in a minute.
Star Wars?
He'll come in with his
Just
comment. He's been commenting,
just
so
curious,
he'll
bud.
yeah he'll put that out. Let's see. Oh, NR Legend says Kryptonian's my brother from another mother.
Man,
Of
100%, man.
course. Yeah, he's a good
That
guy.
guy could call me right now and say, Kryptonian, I need you, bro. I need you to be up here in Baltimore. I will catch a flight. 100%. Sorry,
That's good. I like that. I
yeah,
have some friends like that. I like to say no new friends, but I'm a good friend to a lot of people. So I might not consider that person like I'm not, not my old friends, but like a new friend. I might not consider them my friend, but I would treat them the way I treat my friends. You know what I mean?
it's good. It's
So,
really, it's, when you're growing up and you're in school, I moved a lot with my dad. I mean,
mm.
I probably moved every semester. I would finish the first semester of a school, and then second semester I was moving some. So I moved all
It
over
was still
Houston.
military stuff, or
No, no, it was just back in the '80s and coming out of the '70s. I mean, it was just with Ford being the president, it was one of the worst presidents ever, and with inflation and all. I'm talking about in the '70s. Just the economy was bad. If you remember, well, you don't remember, but
no?
I heard things. Well, I remember being a kid, and I mean, I just remember vaguely. I remember being in my dad's car, and we were trying to get gas, and I remember him looking. He had a picture of or he had his license plate written down. Okay, and he's like, and there was a line you had to get in, and if you had an even number license plate, you would get gas on Mondays. If you had maybe Tuesdays, but
Oh,
every
that happened during the Hurricane Sandy, I think. So I know what you're
Okay, it was
talking
very very similar, right? So I
about.
remember that, right? I just remember being in my dad's car. I think he had like a little Chevette or something, and it had a hole at the bottom of it. I think someone was talking about that story,
A
and I remember
hole in the car?
on the passenger side, I remember having a piece of cardboard, having to kind of sit up and pick my feet up, and we were just poor. My dad was
Yeah,
so poor.
I was poor too, so I get
And so we would whenever he'd lose his job, we would just have to move. We stayed with different people, and
yeah, yeah.
so for school, I didn't get a chance to really, like most do, not every, I mean, maybe back in the day, but I think people move around a lot. But ideally, you want to be able to set up camp, get your kids, go, from maybe
Yeah.
from kindergarten through high school, keep them in the same community of
Stability,
friends.
yeah.
Yeah, stability is super important. I mean, I did go to a private school from the first grade all the way to the sixth grade. So I went to
That's
yeah,
expensive.
it was. So my dad, so one of the things he did once he finally got him that good job, he put me in a private school. So my dad's Catholic, he was an altar boy and all these things, but he put me in a Baptist private school. So I grew up Baptist. I know, right? Crazy, right?
Interesting.
Very interesting. Yeah. So I have my faith and everything. But my dad was never really a practicing Catholic, right? Now he
Yeah.
believes in God, and I mean, I think if you haven't heard, my dad told me off one time about God, what I thought God was. He told me straight up, but I learned really quickly that unless you're in a foxhole, you're going to see who your God is, right?
Oh
You got
gosh.
bullets flying over your head, but yeah, so I grew around a lot, so I didn't really make a lot of friends going through all the way up until I got in high school. Is when I told my dad, I said, look, you got to stop moving, Dad. I need friends,
Yeah.
man. I need friends, Dad. Come on, I got no friends. And he did that. He says, all right, well, we won't move anymore. And he bought a house, and so
Wow.
for high school freshman year, I think maybe sophomore going into the junior, he finally bought a house. But I stayed in the same high school, so I was very fortunate, and I got to make some good friends. But I'll tell you this, some of them I don't even, I couldn't tell you where they're at. You
Yeah,
know,
but that's to be expected.
yeah,
Everybody
of
can't
course,
be friends forever, and everybody can't be close friends. So I do have like a lot of friends that I've known for a while, but I know that there's certain ones that I can call, like you said, like, and I mean, I wouldn't ask them to come flying down, but if I asked and they could do it, I think I have like two and a half friends like that because one of them I'm not sure, but it's a definite maybe, which doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean.
yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, yeah,
They would think about it pretty hard, and like
yeah.
if they could afford it and do it, they would. So
It's
yeah, you got
crazy
it.
when you got those friends, that it's like I got family, I got brothers and sisters. I got one brother and I got three sisters. Um, and it's pretty sad when you have, like, my sisters. I have two older sisters that I haven't seen in years. I think the last
Yeah,
time I
that's
saw them, I
tough.
was probably 12, 13, maybe 15 years old, 16 years old.
Really?
Yeah, they're from my dad's first marriage. And then,
Okay, okay.
yeah. And then my mom had a daughter. So I have a half sister. My mom and my dad got married, who is my sister. I love her to death.
Mhm.
And then I have a younger brother, and I don't have the relationship with my brother that I wish I have a closer relationship with NR than I do my own brother. You know what I mean? I mean,
It
and that's how
happens sometimes.
it does. And I haven't known NR that long,
Yeah.
But what it is, I think what brings people together is obviously it's principles, it's beliefs, right? And most importantly, it's integrity. So in the line of work that I'm in, I get to see kind of the worst of people. I'm not a police officer. They see the absolute worst. Law enforcement sees the absolute worst of
Mm,
people on a daily.
yeah.
I have family members that are cops and everything, and they see the worst of people. But in IT, I get to go in and I basically get to go into your closets, and see everything on in your networks, on your computers, and the people that you least expect to be doing certain things are doing certain things, and it just you kind of begin to lose faith in people, like
Mm,
because they're saying one thing, and the definition of integrity is do is doing the right thing when no one's watching. That's
yeah.
integrity. Integrity isn't saying I'm integrous. It's, oh, no, God's gonna know if you believe in God or not. And God knows if you're integrous or not.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
and you
Both.
never have to say I act in integrity. No, you people just know if you are. It should go without saying.
That's how I
And
feel.
yeah, and I deal with people daily. I mean, I say I deal with people. I'm constantly in talking back and forth with people. I mean, with my clients and customers and friends and whatnot. So you kind of learn how to navigate through life, and how to your bullshit meter just kind of gets very heightened. You know, it becomes almost like a superpower. Like, nah, guys, that's bullshit right there. He's lying, and you just know. And
Yeah.
it's
Definitely
you
with
just know that yeah.
experience that comes.
Yeah, but that's where trust but verify comes. Like that joker's lying to me, but I'm going to verify that you are before I call you a liar. I'm going to verify it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So which is
I
the
don't
right
like
thing to
being
do.
wrong.
Huh? Yeah, right.
I don't like being wrong, so I always have to verify.
Oh yeah,
Like,
of
yeah,
course,
well,
of course.
it's right here on the phone or whatever it is, or a screenshot. Like, don't play me. People like to, there's always somebody who's going to talk. And they're like, oh, you said this. No, 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 I didn't. Actually, and then I show the screenshot, and then people feel stupid. Like, you're not going to catch me in a lie. Everybody, you hear me out there? You're not going to catch me in a lie. I can't even remember the lie anyway. So
That's right. It's very
I'm
hard to
course
lie.
with
It
that.
takes so much energy to lie. You have to remember what you said and why you said it. Blah blah
Yeah.
blah. Right. And
Look
nine
out for
times
what?
out of 10, if you want to catch a guy in a lie, or a woman in a lie, whoever, you want to catch a human being in a lie, all you have to do is just ask them the question and just wait. Let them talk. Eventually they're going to tell them themselves. Just wait, just wait. You just have to be
Oh,
patient.
yeah, for
The way
sure.
you catch a liar is patience. Just patience. Yeah.
Ugh, I get tired of it. I do. Because you already know they're liars. So I'm like,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
and I lose patience. Like with little kids, I'm all right. I have a lot of patience with them. But like with adults and some
Oh gosh,
teenagers,
man. Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yo,
I know.
this is about to get
Teenagers
ugly.
today, man. I don't. I mean, I know I was bad. I mean, god dang, I
No,
was bad.
no, there's a difference. There's a difference between a bad kid and bad behavior. There's some kids like their intentions are just bad, and you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even want to be around you. Not that you want to like hurt them, but sometimes you get around kids like teenagers like that, and you're like, yo, this kid needs to get beat up so he can calm down. And sometimes there's girls like that too. I'm not even gonna lie, but
Yeah. Oh yeah.
it's tough. But I usually like I could see even I could see a kid who's acting up because you can tell something's going on. You go over there and talk to them or whatever, and they're like, they tell you they've been bullied or something's going on at home. So I pay attention to that too. Like you got to watch, especially with kids. Like with adults, you're like, you don't have to deal with them really. But with kids, I think it's a good thing to watch, pay attention to them
It
because they
needs to
need
be
it.
it needs to be addressed. I mean, if you let a kid get away with a lie, first of all, if you're lying to a kid, you deserve. I'm not going to tell you what you deserve. You already know what you deserve. To lie to lie to a child that is who is going to believe you what you say. No matter you could. I
Hmm.
mean, we're not going to get into beliefism because we're going to go with that. But when you start lying to children, knowing that they don't have the cognitive abilities to discern if you're lying, they're just going to believe you, right?
Yeah, people lie to kids all the time. I
All the
hate when
time, all the time.
I
And
never
then
did.
if you got to think about the cycle here. So this is it's so malicious, evil, and just disgusting to me. You lie to a kid, all right, their whole for the most of their adolescent life, and then you reveal the lie to them. I was lying. It was just because I didn't want to hurt you. I didn't want to hurt your feelings. Santa Claus wasn't real, but you look so cute. You love
No,
presents,
never did any
and
of that crap.
right. And then what happens is you lie about Santa Claus, and then when you tell them it was a lie, you don't even tell them it's like, well, it's just something we just say, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
so it's okay to lie to children. Ultimately, it's a lie, and we all
Yeah.
did it. Okay, all did. I mean, I went through that too with my daughters.
No,
It
I did
wasn't.
not.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
was intentional.
It wasn't until how it affected my youngest, where
Ah, the
I was like,
betrayal, right?
yes, oh my God, the betrayal.
Yeah.
And then at that point, that was one of the pivoting moments for me. I was like, okay, what the heck's going on in the world? But to lie to a child, because I was taught to lie because my
Hmm.
parents, like my mom, lied to me about Santa Claus, right? My aunts and
Hmm.
uncles and all that. So then I then pass that lie on to my kid. And then when they
Right.
get to an age early enough to where they're figuring it out because their friends are telling them, man, ain't Santa Claus ain't real. And then you go, well, it was because I love you. That's such a mind
Yeah.
blast. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then they grow up going, well, I guess it's okay to lie to kids. And
Yeah.
then, and then so goes on the
Or other
cycle.
loved ones.
Yeah. Or the loved ones. And that's just Santa Claus. Then you lie about this and then you lie about that.
Yeah.
And then you can believe in things that you shouldn't believing in. We're not going to talk
Yeah.
about that, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
No, but we're we're
yeah,
not
yeah.
going there.
We're not going there. We're not, because we
Or
never went
there.
there. We never went there. Is what I'm saying. Go
Oh
ahead.
boy. But no, that is tough. And I've always told my boys, like, I don't lie to you, I don't lie to you. And it's crazy because for a little while, they would try to catch me in lies. And I'm like, what do you want your mother to be a liar for? Like, what? That's not a flex. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
But they always were trying to do that. And I'm like, look, if there's something I don't want you to know, I'll just tell you I don't want to talk about it, especially because you're a child. I used to always be like, this is an adult conversation. We're talking about grown up stuff, whatever it is,
Yeah.
because I never played those games where I'm going to go bash a bunch of adults to my kids or in front of my kids. Like, no,
Yeah. No, you're doing the right
I'm
thing by
my
not doing
kids'
that.
friends. They're not my friends. Like there's a
That's
big
right.
difference.
That's right. Yeah.
And you have to be clear about those things. I'm very clear about my intentions. Deanna wanted to do the Superman, and we got into an argument about it. Not the Superman, I'm sorry. That was looking at myself. He wanted to do the Santa thing
Oh,
and
yeah.
the tooth fairy, and I was like, no, I'm not lying to them, I don't care. But I did make it a point to say, don't tell anybody else, but your presence, because I said Santa Claus is real. He was a man that was
Oh,
Saint Nicholas,
Saint
blah
Nick.
blah
Yeah.
blah, told him
Right.
the truth.
That's
And
what. Yeah.
now this
I do
Santa
something. Yeah.
Claus is a cartoon and blah blah blah, and he's not real,
So we
but
can
he
agree
doesn't
on
come to the house.
cartoons then, right? We can agree that most things are cartoons. Okay, good.
No, no,
Got that one out of the
no.
way. No, but you're right.
But
You're
yeah, you
right.
can't you
But
can't do
you're
that.
right
You gotta be
about.
careful.
But that's great that you did that. You didn't say no. It's all a lie. You said no, no. Look, because if there's a lie out there, there's always some truth in a lie.
Yes,
Otherwise,
exactly.
and that's what it's the little bit of truth in a lie that sticks to a man's mind and heart and to his soul.
Yep.
Because if there was no truth in it, it would just fall off of him. Okay. So deception is very deceiving, play on words there. But so that's why there's always a little bit of truth in lies. And
Hmm.
so it's great that you said, let me tell you what the truth is. There was a man
Yeah.
named St. Nicholas. He didn't, he went around and, from what we've told from history, he went around to orphanages and gave toys to kids and food or whatever, helped the
Right.
homeless. And then they took what he did, that good deed that he did, and they commercialized it. And now you got a
Hmm.
guy flying in flying in and on his way to the moon. I'm
He's this
sorry.
all-knowing,
Yeah. Yeah.
all-seeing
Yeah. 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 Please. Yeah. All knowing, all seeing.
guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it's
Come on.
pretty weird. I told him that, and I also didn't want them to be ungrateful little brats. Like, this rando guy is not flying in here bringing you presents. We're buying you presents and then wrapping them and then giving them to you and thinking about what you want and all that kind of stuff. So they were grateful, and I used to excuse me, like my mom, she moved away. A bunch of my family have moved away, and I would say, "Do you want more presents this year, or do you want to go see Abby or whoever it was?" Like, and they would pick to go visit somebody because it costs money to get down wherever you go and
Mm-hmm.
travel, and we would do that. And they never were like, these kids wanted so much and all this stuff, and I was grateful for that, because then it helped us to get to go see more family and stuff like that. But it just was building their character, and that's a big thing. So with that,
It
let's
is.
go a
It
little
is.
bit of comments, because there's
All
people
right.
have been talking.
Oh,
I
crap.
think I saw, look at this guy, Crypto Pride. I had the
It's
best interview, even though I was on CP time. You know what CP time is,
yeah.
right?
Color people time. Yeah. Color people time.
Yeah. My friend makes fun of me so
It's
much.
actually CPT time, bro. Color people time. One of my the best. He's one of my best friends. He was the best man at my wedding.
Hmm.
My recent wedding, my second wedding, right? He's Hispanic. He's married to a black woman. I've known him for damn near 30 years.
Hmm.
He he thinks because he's married to a black woman, he can say, he can do all the black jokes and everything. It's so funny, man. It's so
Oh,
funny. He's like
well,
he's
what
that
kind of Hispanic is he?
uh he's 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 Mexican, but he it's just
Oh,
he he um he doesn't speak Spanish. His parents do. If you knew his last name, you wouldn't. It doesn't have a Hispanic last name at all. Okay,
right.
NR knows him, right? So, um, but the funny thing is, he's hilarious. I can't
Yeah.
wait. He's getting into crypto. Hopefully he'll be joining us soon. In some of our lives. But
Okay.
He's hilarious as well. But yeah, he'll do he'll do. He's just like Pride, CPT time and whatever. I'm like,
Yeah.
everybody knows. I learned that from him. That's pretty funny though.
Yeah. No, I know. Well, my mom always used to say it, but my friend, she's Peruvian, and oh my gosh, if their party is at 2 o'clock, then expect everybody to show up at 4, and I'm there at 1:45.
Yeah, I'm that guy
And
too.
she's
I'm
like,
I'm always the guy early.
yeah, she was
Yeah.
like, you're always early. She was like, you know how my family is, blah, 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 blah. And she's like, everybody, because she says Spanish people time, which I don't know anybody who says that. And I'm like, no, everybody
Yeah,
knows it's
it's
colored people time.
color people time. Yeah,
Yeah, because
CPT.
everybody,
Yeah,
but
yeah. The
but
CPT. Yeah,
the white people always on time, and me
yeah,
apparently. So,
yeah.
but I hate being late because my mom was always late, and I hated it. So I'm never late. Dano's either early or late. He's never on time or a little bit. He'll either be very early for no reason, sitting in the parking lot, or he's late.
Always
And
like super late, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, maybe not
Oh no.
super, but
Well, I mean, maybe
yeah,
late. Like,
it
yeah.
kills
I'm
me when he
I
goes on. I hate it. I'm like, what are you doing? It's time. Like, I'm in the
Yeah,
back of
I
like trying to
hate
crack the
being
whip.
late. That is a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah,
If I
yeah.
if I tell someone I'm going to be there at 5 o'clock, if I'm not, for those of you that I let down, just understand this. You're gonna understand why that happens. It's not that my intentions are to be on time, but I've got so many moving parts. So
Mm.
I'm answering to probably 100 emails an hour, right? And I'm having to multitask. And unfortunately, in my world, if I take one call, what's that? Oh,
Yeah, it's the whole costume. I had to get into
oh
costume.
yeah, yeah, that's freaking
Go
awesome.
ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah. So it's just if I'm late, trust me, it was not on purpose. It's I took a call I shouldn't have taken, and it threw me
Mm.
off 5 minutes. 5 minutes to me is like an hour to someone else. I work in 15-minute increments. So if I've
Oh,
got an
okay.
appointment with somebody, I'm giving you 15 minutes of my day. So it has to be quality. It has to be substantive. If we can't come to an agreement, a resolution, or a plan of some sort in 15 minutes, then we're wasting our time. Because don't
Okay.
bring me problems, bring me solutions, right?
Oh
And
my
that's
gosh.
right. So
I
that
tell my sons that.
yeah, I mean, I don't want to hear about what kind of why you had you had a horrible day. I want to hear you had a horrible day and what you learned from it.
Hmm.
That to me is because I think and I think I've gotten worse with that because of the older I've gotten. The older I've gotten, I've realized that, man, time is the one thing. It's funny because people, everybody wants to be rich and have all this money, or at
Yeah.
least maybe not be rich because it's subjective. Rich to me could be different rich to someone else, or to
Yeah.
me, well, I think wealthy is the proper word. But the one thing, the wealth is subjective. It depends on where you are in your life, how old you
Hmm.
are. Someone owning a Ferrari, oh, I'm wealthy, or someone just having their house paid off, that's considered wealth. It depends on
Right.
where you are, right?
Yeah.
So, but the one thing that people want the most of is time. Like, I want money so I can have time, but that is the one thing that they waste the most of.
Hmm.
You want
I hate when people
you
waste
want
my time.
all this money to get more time, yet you waste all this time. You waste all this time talking about how you don't have enough money. It's all about action, right? So you got to make it happen.
Yeah.
I'm a true believer because belief is the enemy of knowing. I believe it because I know it. If you can literally create your own world by like not by thinking it alone, you're thinking it and you have to make it happen. It actually takes steps and
Action.
action. It takes
Yeah.
action.
And a plan.
You would be surprised how many people will get it. When I say the universe gets out of your way, people get out of your way. Like here's something you can try. Right. For those of you listening, I mean, this is it sounds corny, but try this. So I remember when I was in New York, right? I've been there a few times,
Hmm.
and I do it I do it everywhere I go. So when I'm walking down a sidewalk, I walk upright. I'm smiling. I'm looking forward. I never look. I'm never looking down when I walk. I'm looking forward as if I'm on like I've got a mission. I've got to get somewhere, and I'm smiling. And I'm just
Mm.
walking, right? I'm just walking. You'd be surprised how many people look at you, and you got to make eye contact with people, and you just kind of nod your
Yeah,
head. People in general respond in kind. Like
of
if you say, "Hey,
course.
good morning," they'll say, "Good morning," and then you can test that out too. And I'll give you an example. But as you people see that, they see, well, this guy's on a mission. They literally get out of your way. Like, whoa,
Yeah,
and I'm not talking about, hey, where you're bumping shoulders. They
yeah,
literally people respond like this guy's on a mission. He's got this
yeah.
energy about him.
Right. I
Make
was gonna
way
say
for the
that.
guy. Make way for him, and that's what the world does for you. But you have to take that step and do it. If you're
Yeah,
looking
the
down the whole
actions.
time,
You don't do them.
you
Yeah.
don't do them, it ain't gonna happen. But one of the guys that I'm trying to remember his name. God dog it. It's a self
God
book.
dog it.
Yeah, God dog it. I've
That's
read so many
Texas.
books. God dog it. God dang it. No, but I'm trying to think of his name, and I will here in a moment. But he was a great storyteller, and he talked about how people respond in kind. He says, "Give it a shot." He goes, "Jump into an elevator and make sure it's in the evening, okay, like after 4 or 5 p.m., not in the morning, not 11, 12, 1, 2, 3, late afternoon, but jump in an elevator after 5 o'clock, where it's obviously evening. Jump in the elevator, smile, say good morning, and 9 times out of 10, they're going to go good morning,
Yeah.
or they're going
Question
to
it.
go good morning. People respond in kind. That is psychology
Mhm.
101. So if
Yeah.
you understand that Jedi mind trick, people, all I can say is this: your world will change once you understand how to really communicate, how people are. You can really shape your future and the potential that you. I mean, like I said earlier,
Yeah.
remember that I believe we all have innate abilities to that are super in my opinion. So
To an
uh,
extent. Yeah. We.
yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
So I
I
mean, I
feel
can't
like
I
that.
can't fly or nothing, but I wish I could. But
I wish. Yeah. What's your superpower since you brought it up? You're going
oh
through all kinds of questions right now without me even asking, but it's
oh,
fine.
my bad, my bad.
We're
Well,
rolling.
I
We're rolling.
was taking notes. She's gonna ask this. She's gonna ask this. So let me just
I'm
get to
crossing them out as you go through, but yeah, keep going.
Ordinado. What's up, buddy? And that guy right there, man. I admire this man, Sensei. I admire him so much. If
His dad was a preacher.
oh, you can tell, man. You can tell.
Yeah.
You can tell. That man's got so much. It's one of those things. When I first met
Wait,
Ordinado.
wait, wait. Before you get into that, you didn't answer my question.
Oh, what was that?
What's the superpower?
Oh, I would fly.
Okay,
Fly.
that was
It'd
mine
be
too.
flying. It'd be flying.
Yeah.
And the reason why would I fly? Because I've had more dreams than I can count of flying.
Mm.
And every time I had a dream about flying as a young man, as a kid, and even as an adult, um, the very next day, I would just I would really try to play it out in my head, like where was I flying? Man, it
Mm.
felt so real. And that feeling that I felt, I tried to emulate that. I tried to capture that feeling again in my day.
Oh
And
wow.
in those moments when I would get a sale or I close a deal or I'd make more money than I've ever made all week or something, or I would
Yeah.
just accomplish something, I hit a goal, it felt like I was flying. And I was like,
That's cool.
that's the feeling that I want to feel all the time. So for me, flying is freedom, but it's also lonely because at the end of the day, I mean, unless you're flying in a plane, right? And no one wants to be in a plane because you didn't complain about flying because oh my god, I'm sitting next to this guy. But if you're flying, if you got the ability to fly like
Private
Superman, right?
business.
You absolutely no who else can fly, right? And no one can fly but yourself, right? There's one Superman. So it's definitely lonely, right? So that's something to consider. So if I'm and it was kind of an eye opener for me because as I was chasing that feeling for years, felt great. I was trying to go in for that rush again. I
Yeah.
realized that I was alone in that. No one
Mm.
else. I was leaving people behind,
Mm.
family, friends, relationships. I was focusing more on that than what mattered most, and it was the
Right.
relationships that I needed to cultivate. Because at the end of the day, all the stuff that I do, it matters nothing if I don't have
Yeah.
friends and family to share it with, right? So,
Yeah.
but
Sure.
if I had a superpower, it would be flying. I love the way that feels. I've
Yeah. I think I
skydived.
can do that.
That's why I
I'm
ride a
afraid of heights,
motorcycle.
but I would
Yeah.
totally fly.
Oh hell yeah, hell yeah. I love it.
So we have a question down here. It's not really a question, it's like a,
Mhm.
kind of question, but I'm gonna read it. Juan Martinez says, "Hola, qué pasa? How you doing?" So with
¿Qué pasa?
that, my other question: do you speak Spanish?
Very little. No, I'm a lot like Daniel, where I didn't grow up speaking Spanish. So funny story. So my mom speaks Spanish, and I thought my dad spoke Spanish. Yeah. So my dad's from South Texas. So my family is from Texas, like 3 generations, right? So 4 generations. So it
Yeah,
wasn't like my dad immigrated from Mexico or anything like so.
but Texas used to be Mexico
It
before.
used to be. So about the time Texas was purchased, right,
Yeah.
for Mexico, my great grandfather was already in Texas. So I guess you could say
Mhm.
absolutely, but I don't have any family in that have actually come from Mexico. They're all from South Texas, right?
Right.
But so the funny story is my dad, I could have swore, Leona, that my dad spoke Spanish. His girlfriend speaks Spanish. I've heard him speak Spanish. This whole time I thought he spoke Spanish. In fact, he insisted that I take Spanish in school. I think I took it in seventh, eighth, and maybe a little bit in high school. And I'll never forget this. So I learned Spanish a little bit enough to pass the classes. And remember, I'm thinking my whole life, my dad speaks Spanish, you know, because he can order, I don't, because I've heard him, I could have swore I heard him
He
speaking it.
probably knew some terms that he
He
could
knows a
just
little, he knows a little
say.
bit less than street Spanish. Okay. So let
Yeah,
me tell you
less
what
than
happens.
conversational.
Less than well, maybe a little bit, maybe, yeah, he can have
Maybe
conversations,
like a
but
third grade conversation.
yeah, 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 right, right. Like, yeah, like ¿qué pasa? That's about it.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
but so a funny story is I'm already in IT. I'm already doing the IT thing, and I show up at my dad's house. I'm already married, and I remember he calls me over. He's like, "I need you to come over to the house. I'm having an issue with my phone. It's something's wrong with it." I'm like, "All right, Dad, I'll be in the area. I'll swing by." So I pop in the house, and he's on the phone with T-Mobile. If you guys have T-Mobile out there, I'm sure you guys do, right? But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah. So he's like talking to this lady. What he did mistakenly, and he's always had some sort of flip phone. My dad, I've had
Oh,
all the
yeah.
smart. I'm an IT guy. I've had every damn phone. I mean, have
Yeah, the old
every.
man phones.
I've had every smartphone known to man, from from
Yeah,
a BlackBerry all to every iPhone, Droid, whatever. I mean, it's just my nature, right?
right.
So my dad has his flip phone, like his Motorola flip phone, and I'll never forget this. He mistakenly put it in Spanish.
Of
Okay.
course.
So he's going through it, probably trying to send a message. He hit Spanish. Now it's in Spanish. Okay. So he's trying to figure out how to put it back. All the menus are in Spanish.
Right.
So he's like, well, he doesn't call me yet. He calls T-Mobile customer support. But because he put it in Spanish, when he did call T-Mobile, it called someone in Spanish.
Of
It called
course.
it called someone that speaks Spanish. So I happen to walk in as he's jumping on the line with them, right?
Hmm.
And they're on speakerphone. And I'm like, "Hey, what's going on, Dad?" He goes, "Oh." He goes, "Hold on." He goes, "Hold on. My son's here. He speaks Spanish." And so my dad goes, I'm like, "What?" He goes, "Hold on." He's like, "I put my phone in, I put it in Spanish mode. I need you to convert it back to English. I don't know how to do it." I'm like, Dad, remember this lady's on speakerphone, right?
Yeah,
Who speaks Spanish. Okay.
yeah.
And she's like, "Hello, hello." And I'm like, "Hold on, ma'am." I said, "Dad, look, you speak Spanish. I mean,
Yeah.
right? You speak." He goes, "No, I don't speak Spanish." So I'm like, "What do you mean you don't speak Spanish? What are you talking about?" He goes, "No, I don't speak Spanish." I said, "You don't speak or read, you can't read or write Spanish?" He goes, "No." I'm like, "What?"
Like, where have I
I've heard,
been?
yeah, I was like, this has all been a lie to me. Trust but verify. This is where it all comes from, right? But he's like, he goes, "No, I don't speak Spanish." I'm like, "What?" So he hands me the phone. I'm like, "No, no, no. You speak Spanish." I'm arguing with him in front of this lady. And she's like, guys, I speak English. And I'm like, "Hold on. I'm talking to my dad." Long of the story is that I was like, "We're going to have to call you back." I hung up the phone. I was like, "You've been lying to me my whole life. I
Oh
thought
my
you spoke
gosh.
Spanish." And I was like, "Dad, you told me that you didn't want me to learn Spanish because you didn't want me to struggle with English going through school." He goes, "Well, yeah, I said that, but because I didn't know Spanish." I was so
What
upset
the heck?
for a whole year. I didn't believe anything my dad told me. I was like, "Nah, I don't believe you, Dad. I don't believe you."
On and
That's
on
funny
with
story.
crypto.
It's funny, man.
That's hilarious. So much assumption
So
going
much,
on here.
yeah, yeah.
You don't
He and
even
I are
know what
arguing about who
assumption
speaks
means,
Spanish.
right?
Yeah, ass out of you and me, buddy. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank,
Yep.
thank you,
Yep.
Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah. Yeah, that's your nickname for him.
Oh yeah,
Oh my gosh,
totally.
that's funny. So, how about this? Like, I get this feeling like, you're pretty pensive, and I used to call you in the comments before I was ever on live with you or anything like that. I used to call you the philosopher.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, have you ever been a writer?
I do write, not like in art. I don't have a book coming out, but I write a lot of
Right.
poetry. I do like to write.
Yeah,
I love to
yeah.
read. I love to read.
I
Anything,
hate reading, but I do it to learn.
any, well, yeah, of course, to learn, right? So I'm exactly the same way. I'm only going to read when it benefits me. Now I'm
Yeah.
because the problem I have is I don't have the time to sit down and glass of wine,
Oh
cigar,
yeah,
read a book.
leisure reading? No.
I don't have the time to. I hope to have that soon. I do. I really hope I do. But right now, I only read and I somewhat speed read, right? So like, I cut
Oh,
to the
I'm a
I
skimmer.
cut I
Yeah.
cut to the chase, get what I need, and get out.
Right.
Unfortunately, that comes a lot of missing the points and
Yeah.
mistakes. But I get the gist of it at the end of the day. But I do love to write. When my girls were younger, it reminds me of I actually wrote a story, I guess it was a kid's, I won't say kids book, but kind of like a Narnia. You remember the Narnia books
Oh
and
yeah, the
and
Chronicles of Narnia.
yeah, I love the Lord of the Rings. I love that's going to be my jam. I love the Lord of the Rings
Very
and I love Tolkien.
fantastical,
I love
mixed
Tolkien.
with some like old days, olden.
J.R. Tolkien. That's his books. If you don't know what the Lord of the Rings are, I mean, there's so much wisdom and yeah, it's a fantasy world and all that stuff, but he has a
Yeah, it's
lot
hard
more.
to get through for me.
It is, but there's a lot of wisdom in what he's writing, especially when he was writing it because of it was during wartime and all these things.
Mhm.
But the point I'm making is after obviously when these movies came to the screen, I had already kind of read some of the stories, right? I mean,
Right.
we all did. I once I saw the movies, which I absolutely loved by Peter Jackson, I went to read them and I realized, damn, I've been missing so much. There's so much of the world out there, you know, so much of the world out there. But so I do write, but I wrote a story. It's kind of in the same theme or genre of the Lord of the Rings and Narnia. And I remember telling my daughters as they were growing up, they were like, "Dad, tell us a story before we go to bed." So I was
That's
big about, and rather than just go to bed, I would always go tell them a story. Rather than read them a book, I would tell
right.
them a story. So
Yeah.
this story I have it written down. It's probably about, I think I probably wrote a page for about a year. So every night when I would put them to bed, Dad, tell us a story. I would add to the story and I had to go
Hmm.
and have to go write it down. So it became this huge story
Well, that's
about.
good.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's a crazy. I go back and read it. It's like, what was I thinking? But the girls love it. They still
They
remember.
loved it.
They still
Yeah.
remember me telling them stories and kind of writing on the on the fly, if you will. But
Yeah.
it was fun for me, so I love the stuff. So I was able to take. I was really able to take my life lessons, and my teachable moments, and kind of put it,
Hmm.
moral of the story type thing.
That's
Um,
cool.
yeah, it
So
was
you
fun.
stuck the moral of the story stuff in the little
I
stories
tried
to your
to.
daughters?
I tried to. Well, remember I said that my dad raised me, but he struggled with PTSD, right? And we didn't
Hmm.
really know back then what it was. I didn't know,
No,
so
no.
to me it was normal. My dad would sit in a room and we would never talk. He would
Right.
just watch TV, watch the news, and that was my life.
There's
So
still a lot of fathers, by the way, who've never been in the war, never had any kind of PTSD, and they do that too. So
that's comforting, yeah, for sure.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so my dad, he would watch two things. He would watch Nick at Night and CNN.
I
Yeah,
didn't even
Prado.
know
My dad,
how old CNN
yeah,
was.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. So watch the news. Fox News
Hmm.
wasn't even around yet. Obviously, my dad didn't really watch Fox, but he watched CNN or the local news. But he was always into politics. He just loved news. My dad was all.
Hmm.
But he would watch Nick at Night, and through the Nick at Night, what Nick at Night is, it was this channel called Nickelodeon. But it
Yeah.
was a lot of the old shows like I Love Lucy, The Andy Griffith Show, Dick Van Dyke,
Oh, the
Taxi,
black and white
all the
shows.
black and whites and all. It
Yeah.
went from like the 50s all the way up to the 70s and 80s. What was the other one? Who's the Boss? I mean, all these great shows from the 80s, these sitcoms, all the way down to the 50s. So I grew up watching that. My dad wouldn't let me watch
Mm.
anything else. I didn't go watch movies. I didn't watch. He didn't let me watch. We always had cable. One thing my dad always had was cable. That's what we had always.
You didn't have other stuff, but you had
I
cable.
didn't. It's a funny story about that is, but so I grew up watching the Andy Griffith Show. That was my favorite, and I Love Lucy. The comedy of Lucille Ball and Andy Griffith. But I remember in the Andy Griffith Show, you had Andy the sheriff, and you had Barney the clown cop. Where his deputy was a clown who was like,
Deputy. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
which is what I call him Deputy Prado. But don't you heard it here, folks. So Prado, he's
not
never
like
shot
we're
a
live
gun.
or anything.
No, no, no. So, folks, when Prado goes to the gun range with me, he will get one bullet in his pocket. Look up Barney Fife. That's it, guys. But anyways, but I remember in those shows, there was always some. You had Opie who loved his dad, who was the sheriff. There was always the moral of the story. Then it was great. It was fun stuff. So
Right.
that's how I grew up. Going, okay, every 30 minutes, I'm going to learn a life lesson. That's how I grew up. So So I would say, if anything, I grew up watching. Andy Taylor was my dad. He was the guy in the show. But
Oh,
yeah, that's
okay.
pretty funny. I mean, he would be the one that would kind of like explain. I learned a lot from
Yeah.
that show, honestly.
No,
And
I hear you. I hear you.
I mean, so that kind of like it kind of so it's funny because I grew up watching those shows in the eight. I'm in the '80s, right? I'm an '80s kid, or and probably early '90s, and I'm learning from the '60s and '50s or '60s and '70s. So
Yeah,
when I
because you
hit,
definitely act older.
and it came from that, So when I
Yeah.
hit the world, when I would go to school, they're like, what? Like, who are you, man?
Yeah.
I'm like, why are you guys acting like? It was funny. The way what I thought was funny was different from them. There was a lot of my friends that was like kids. I'm like, you
Yeah.
guys are boring. I'm gonna hang out with those guys.
That's how my youngest son is. He hangs out with older kids all the time, like to the point where he's gotten a little bit in trouble in school this year. But he always is like judging kids. Like when he's at youth group at church, like the youth pastor will come out and she'd be like, "Oh my gosh, David was like side eyeing these kids today." But he just, and it's funny because he's like a year younger. His age is a year younger than his grade. So
So
he's younger than all these kids, but they call him Unc, like uncle, because he acts like an old man. But I
you
get
know,
it, I get it.
is
But
it
he
safe?
didn't
Is,
get
is
that
it
from his
safe to
dad.
say that he has wisdom beyond his years?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. They say he's really mature, and I get it, but I think it's because of the way I treated him and his brother. His brother, yeah, he can act a little oldish too, but they're
You, you,
both very like,
you have to remember,
this,
a boy, as cute as they are when they're baby boys, that will be a man one day.
yeah,
And you have to raise him to be a man. Um,
yeah,
a, a young boy doesn't become a man; he's raised to be a man, and that's
right,
by his parents and his cult, the household that he grows up in.
yeah,
And it's the same for a little girl.
yeah. She
We
doesn't
are.
just become a lady.
That's right, right.
You have to
It's
teach
all
her.
about culture, 100%. So,
Yeah.
we are products of our culture, and I'm a sole believer in that, and
Hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think if I take a kid and drop him in a bad place, internally, innately, he knows morally what's right and wrong, but
Hmm.
we're gonna do what humans do. We're gonna just
Yeah.
kind of go with
It's
the
hard to
flow.
go against the grain
Yeah,
all the time,
it is.
everywhere.
It is.
So he might say no once or twice, but then when everybody's doing it, like, yeah, you might get 1 out of 10 kids or 2 out of 10 kids that will just every time say no, but it's very hard.
It is.
It's
It
like,
is. And
it's
one
it's
of
what it
one of the
is.
responsibilities that we as parents have is to teach our kids to say no, because
Yeah.
there are for every affirmation. There was a book that I love. It was called it was Dr. James Dobson. Is one of the things that
Oh, I remember that guy.
yeah, he's a child psychologist, and I remember he was talking one of the books. It was Raising Adolescents, I think is what it was, or Preparing
Hmm.
for Adolescence. So one of the things I did with my daughters, and now and my ex-wife did, because daughters, right? I can only do so much as a dad, right? It's really up to the
Of
mom,
course.
80% of the time, right? So um I just remember he would talk about, if you're going to affirm, or I would say, if you're going to correct a child,
Hmm.
or for every affirmation, or every if I say this right,
Every
for
correction,
every
you need
correction
an
there needs to be an
affirmation.
affirmation. Yeah. So if you
Yeah.
have 7 corrections, there needs to be 7 affirmations.
Yeah.
So
Because you don't
there
want to
had
beat the kid down like
Yeah,
mentally and
yeah. Like, what are you
emotionally.
doing? Yeah, yeah. And that's what the funny thing is, that's what my dad would do with me, in the short periods of times that I would get to have conversations with him. That's what he would
Hmm.
do. He would like, this is wrong, and he would tell me, why it was wrong, and do I understand, and then he would tell me what I was doing right. So, oh, Daniel up? Did I wake Daniel?
No,
Oh,
my I think my sister's here.
oh, okay.
Hold on, because he's a big boy. He might
Oh,
scare him.
yeah, yeah. I've seen him.
I'll
I've
be
seen him.
right
Yeah.
back. You
Yeah,
can uh
you're
you
good to
can
go.
click on some comments. You have control, right?
I don't. I don't.
Oh, you got kicked off? I think because he added somebody. I'll be right back.
Yeah, yeah. We got limited spots. Well, guys, enough about me. How you guys doing? Hopefully, you guys are enjoying a little bit about me. Um, Once again, I'm talking too much, but if you guys got some questions, I'd love to hear them. You probably know enough about me already, though. Hopefully, you're enjoying the little live that we're doing here.
All right. He's a pretty good boy, but my sister's over and she came back late and he doesn't like that.
Mhm. How's it?
He
He's being
didn't
a
get his
dog.
she
He's
didn't
being
get his permission.
a.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Yeah, I think he had to add somebody the other day with the 8 hour live.
Oh yeah, yeah. We
So
do that. We do that all the time. You're dropping
yeah,
teams
because
on
you
the.
were on there.
Yeah, I think you were on mine too. But I was like, do I upgrade to do I spend three hundred
20
dollars a
or
month? Yeah, yeah,
unlimited.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
No, we just need it. We just add
Just
them when we need.
rotate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just rotate. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
You're
what I
the
love about.
bee's knees.
Oh, bro. Fortunately, or the funny thing is, I know what he means. Thanks, brother. You are too, brother.
I know what it means because I saw it in a movie, but like
Basically,
nobody talked like that about me.
basically, he's saying I'm kind of a big deal. Is what he's saying.
Yeah, yeah, but like, do bees even have knees?
I was making fun of NR with your interview with him, man. It was so funny, man. He was like, bro,
Why?
no, because it's because he's my boy. But I was like, bro, I was saying this about NR. He was like, he was on your show, he was on your interview, and you were just like asking him a question. He was like, yeah, I'm kind of a big deal. And he would take a drink. It reminds me of Maker Man, but anyways.
Yeah, he's funny. He's funny. I was like, no pimp cup for my show. Like, I felt a little insulted. It was crazy. He had like, he had the what do you call it? The redneck cup?
Yeah, it's a solo
Yeah.
cup, or what do you call them? Solos, yeah, yeah.
No, there was a thing at the bottom.
Oh, looked like a wine glass, but it was a.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
what
yeah.
they
I
call the
see. Yeah.
redneck cups. Because I said to him, I was like, I remember like years ago, I was going to do a redneck party, but then I was like, I don't think I could do this. I don't think any of my friends would show up.
It's funny because
But
like down here in Texas, like everybody's a redneck. It's like
I know, but I'm from the Bronx. It's
no,
just
I
like
got you, I got you, I got you.
maybe one year, like when we're old enough, when nobody really cares.
Yeah,
But
I went
we'll
when I
see.
was in Manhattan. I think in the last time I was in Manhattan was 20 right before COVID. It was 2018 ish, maybe 2019, and I hadn't been there in a few years, and maybe 2 or 3 years since the last time I was there. I got a client up there that every now and then he flies me out, and I'm get to chat and all that stuff. Kind of do an assessment on his offices out there, but um, and he's like a hedge fund manager type guy, so he's got these amazing offices off Wall Street. So, anyways, I remember being up there, and I was like, I hadn't been there in a while, and I just remember, man, people up here are pretty uppity, man. It's like what the freaking heck, man. I remember I was
Yeah.
in Canada one time, and it was my first time to Canada. I was in Calgary, which to me, Calgary is a lot like Texas as far as the people. They have a rodeo up there. I mean, like we have one in Texas.
Whoa.
Yeah, it's they love the rodeo.
Random.
Yeah, very random. Yeah. But because of oil and gas, there's a lot of people from Canada that I work with here in the States, especially in the Texas area. It's just Canadians are just, Canadians are they're some of my best friends. Most of my friends are Canadians, most of them. And so I remember like, you got to come up to Canada. I'm like, yeah, you're gonna love it. So I remember going up there, and I walked into a Jim Horton, which is like a Starbucks up there. It's like their coffee. And I went to open the door, like I'm walking up to the restaurant, to the coffee shop, the cafe. I went to open the door like we do in Texas, because there was a young lady walking up. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry, let me get this for you. I don't even make eye contact. It's just a habit, just go ahead.
Yeah, same thing with my boys.
Yeah. And she stopped, and she's like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm holding the door for you. She's like, I don't need you to hold the door for me. And
Yeah,
I
I
was
didn't
like,
say you did.
yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, go ahead. And she's like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, oh my God. Right. And anyway, so then I
Yeah.
opened it
You
up,
made
and
it
then
weird.
I opened it up. Yeah. Why'd you make it weird? So I just opened it up, and she finally went in. I was like, what the heck was that? I've
Yeah.
never experienced that before in my life. I'm like, so now
That's
I'm like
silly.
door shy. I'm like, do I open for
Not
you?
door shy.
It's like, it's changed, right?
Yeah, people are weird. My niece did that to my youngest son. So
Really?
yeah, it's weird because she's older than him. So my older son is here. Then one of my nieces was born like a couple of years later, and then another niece, and then my youngest son. So the youngest son, he's got this deep voice, like you would never believe. It's so deep. His feet are huge. It's very crazy, like the way he's been growing.
And he's 8,
No, no, he's actually 14.
Oh,
But
he's still growing, man. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So he's still growing, but like over the years. So even a few years ago, my niece came here. She came to stay for a couple of weeks. I don't know, probably Christmas time. And my youngest son is like jumping in front of her to get the door. She's like, "Oh, do you want me to get the garbage?" And he's like, "No," like women can't touch the garbage. And she
Really?
hated it every minute of it. She was like, "I can do it myself. I can get the garbage. I don't need you to get the door for me." It's like, a couple
He's
times
like,
like
he's
close.
like,
He was
He's like,
just
all right,
like,
when the when the roof's leaking, let me know how it goes. Right?
I mean, that's kind of crap my kid would say. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
we saw something the other day. I don't remember what it was, but he was like, "Oh yeah, we were going to." I was dropping him off for basketball. Actually, I think it was yesterday. I was on the live for a few, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta go drop him off or whatever." So I go to drop him off, and we see these three dirt bikes go by. So there's no sidewalks where we live because it's like the country, and the third one was so far back. It was so far back, and I'm like, why are they leaving their friend? And then I look, and I'm like, that looks like a girl. And then
It was a girl.
dude, we get a block. I'll say a block, but up to
Damn,
the
a
next
block.
street.
They're
We
like
get up to
loser,
the next
like
street,
loser.
and and I'm like, the two guys are stopped waiting for this girl.
They're talking. You know what they're saying, right? They're like, bro, why you bring your sister, bro? I
Or
mean, come on.
no, I mean she kind of was, could have been, but she
Yeah,
was
yeah.
thick enough for you to tell that she's a girl through
Oh,
the
okay,
clothes. So David was like, "Yeah, women's rights, right?" He's like, "You want to do everything, right?" I'm like,
yeah,
"David,
yeah.
stop it." Yeah, this is
Fourth
the
gear.
crap.
Yeah,
Like,
that's funny.
yeah, but it was funny. It was so
Like,
true.
what are you
Like,
doing? It is true. Yeah.
I was a tomboy, whatever you want, tom girl. I don't
Yeah.
know why I would say tomboy, but yeah,
Yeah. No, I know what you're saying.
I
Yeah.
was all into it.
My
But you know
daughter,
what?
my daughters were like that for a
I
bit, but
climbed the trees. I would do like all kind. Like I remember one time I split my pants because I used to like wear baggy pants, and I was like doing climbing up and stuff. I didn't care. Yeah, I wasn't crying. I fell out of the tree, whatever it was. I was doing what the boys were doing, wrestling, all that crap, and I didn't cry about it. And I didn't be like, wait for me. I was like the shortest, smallest one always. And you know what I did? I just learned how to walk faster,
there it
run
is. Yeah.
faster.
That's
Might have
it.
had an asthma attack, but didn't
You know,
matter. I got to go.
and as the boys, they would respect that. Like, ah, man, she'll keep up. She'll keep up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You
I
know,
never
so
got
so
any like.
boys don't want tom girls. We want at the end of the day, boys for men. I mean, Paul talks about
Well,
men
when
and
you get to
women.
a certain age, when you're
Yeah, yeah,
younger, yeah, you want
yeah.
them to be a top.
You don't know until
Yeah,
when all of a sudden you're like, oh, girls, right? As a guy, you don't want them to be like your brother. At the end of the day, that's what makes
yeah.
wars are started over women. At the end of the day, I mean, you
Oh, for
guys
sure.
yield
Yeah.
so much power over men. You have no idea.
No, no.
Um,
Some of us know.
yeah, yeah, well, yeah, y'all know, and that I was being rhetorical, of
We
course, but
learn at some point.
yeah,
Yes.
you learn. Yeah.
Yeah.
And back to the whole, where, I don't need no one to take the trash out for me.
That's
For
crazy.
men, for men, we thrive on knowing we have a purpose. We just want to feel like we're needed. We want to feel like we actually contribute to someone. At the end of the day, one of my mottos for my business is if I don't add value to your business, then I don't charge you. You don't pay my invoice.
Hmm.
If I haven't at some point added some sort of value to you, to your business, then it's been a waste of our time together. Right. And even for the people that I bring on my team, when I bring on a guy that I'm going to train and hopefully replicate myself in them, if they join my team and they know nothing, and if they decide 6 months or a year from now, like, hey, I got a different job, I get making more money. Through the exit interviews, one of the first questions I ask is, are you a better IT guy? Are you more equipped than you were when you started? And
Hmm.
I've not had anyone ever tell me, no, I'm not. They've always
Right.
said it. And so then I'm like, you know what? Then that's what I want to hear. I'm glad that you're leaving, because you're going to go and do what I did because I was where you're at. So if I can add value to your life, then then that gives me purpose. If I don't add
Yeah.
value in any way, in any part, wherever you allow me to, then we're wasting our time, because there's billions of people on this planet, and think about that. There's people everywhere, and we go through life and we're seeing 1,000 people a day. If you're in the city, or if you're not, you're at work, you're probably seeing a couple hundred people. You're driving down the freeways and you're not really talking to people. Everybody just doing their thing. But those that you do engage with, you got to make it worth it every time.
Yeah.
The human experience to me is something that cannot be taken for granted. I mean, there's so much life out there, so many things to enjoy. I saw a comment, if you can bring it up.
Yeah.
It's from Rich Hudman. It's about 8:13 p.m. my time, probably 9 your time.
This
He
one.
says, yeah, he said, you were in PA recently. We're at, I'm in Northeast PA, Poconos. Okay. I was in Fort
Poconos.
Washington.
Poconos.
Poconos. I was going to say Pocahontas.
Yeah.
I'm from Texas, bro. Yeah, Poconos. Yeah, it would be Poconos. But I was in Fort Washington, and then I was in Langhorne. I was there for about a weekend. Had a client up there. Um, just seeing, doing a site assessment, doing my thing out there. They have offices nationwide, and this is one of the first offices in PA that I've got to go to. I think they got two more out there. So I was probably about, I did the GPS of my hotel. I was about an hour and a half from about where Daniel usually is. Okay. So I was like, D, what's up, DP? I'm in PA, man. Let's meet up, crickets. I was like, come on, bro. I mean, he was busy. He was asleep, but
Oh,
oh, I was joking with him, but I know he would. Daniel would have definitely would. We probably. I was like, I wanted to like go have a coffee with him or something because
yeah,
we
it
see
would have
each
been
other in our
cool.
lives. That would have been really cool, right? Would have been really cool. But what's up, Rich? Yeah, and next time I'm out there, hopefully I'm gonna be out there. I think I'm gonna be out there in the next few months. I'll let you know, man. Maybe sooner. We definitely gotta grab a coffee, bro. And we'll do a Dunkin' Donuts, man.
Not Dunkin' Donuts.
Apparently that's the thing up there, man.
Well, Dano likes the coffee there better. He doesn't like the Starbucks coffee, but there's like,
Yeah.
better places. But when Pride and his wife come up, I on our interview, he said that she doesn't cook. So I was like, we could go out to dinner, but then I was like, maybe I should make them something
Oh, that'd be cool.
because they always go out. Yeah,
You,
I do cook.
that's how you know that you guys are amazing because it's like, yeah, let's go meet somewhere. But if you're willing to take the time and cook, invite somebody in your home. I mean, that's just so unheard of these days.
Well,
It
I
really
got a
is.
pretty big dog, so
So it's actually a cool thing that you do that. If you can make the time to do it for sure, right?
oh yeah, sure.
But it goes a long way because what are they going to remember most? Oh, I remember I hung out with DP and Leona.
Yeah,
Man, we were at the house, man. And because I think if you meet at a restaurant, it's cool, right?
yeah.
It's
But it changes the vibe.
it
Definitely
does.
less intimate. It's
Less,
louder.
yeah. When
Yeah,
you get to hang out the house,
you're in a rush too. Yeah. No,
yeah.
I
I mean,
hear
now
you.
you can really be yourself, right? And
Yeah.
at the end
Well,
of the day, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what you're
you can
hoping
be more
for.
comfortable. I don't know how much the first
Yeah, yeah,
when we
yeah.
met Pride, we were there with Pride for a week, so he would probably be more comfortable, but his wife might need a little bit more time, but she might just like, be totally comfortable
Yeah. Are you talking
and
about
all
when you
that.
guys
So
were out
that
in Dubai? Are you talking about or?
yeah,
Yeah,
Pride was
yeah.
there, but his wife wasn't. So
Oh, gotcha, gotcha.
yeah, yeah. So we got to know him pretty well. But even there was even more stuff that came out on the live and that was
Mm.
cool. Pride's a funny guy because he seems like he's quiet.
No, he's
But
funny, man.
his volume is quiet, but he's not a quiet guy. Like
Nah,
he's
man.
not shy.
He's very witty. I've been
Yeah,
backstage with the
yeah,
guy. He's another. He reminds me of a crypto Terry where he's just quick to listen, slow to speak. But I know
yeah.
Pride is a people watcher. In my
Oh
opinion,
yeah,
he's
yeah.
he's doing. I know him.
But he
Um,
says funny stuff, and you're
oh,
like,
he
is
does.
this
I catch
everybody
him.
hear
I'll
that?
watch his
Yeah,
lives. Man, he's very funny, man.
yeah.
I catch him. Yeah, he's a funny guy. And one thing I like about Pride is he remembers stuff. So
Yes, yes.
for instance, like he remembers things about people. If you say something, he'll
Hmm.
bring it up like later on, maybe on another live or whenever he
Yeah,
and I get to interact. And one thing I really appreciate about it, he always invites me to his shows, and it's usually in times I can't come on, but
right.
without a beat, man, he's just like, hey, Kryptonian,
Yeah,
man, you're more than welcome. But like I know for one thing that I can feel really that always reminds me of Pride is when I go to a Chili's. We go to a Chili's at least once or twice a month here, and at lava cake, man.
yeah.
I know when I'm eating a lava cake, my boy Pride is eating one at least once that month. It's
For
cool,
real. Once a
right?
week.
Yeah, he and I can make a joke about it, but we know at the end of the day we both get that same endorphin feeling when we eat that lava cake.
Oh
So
my gosh, I
we're
can't.
sharing that experience. You know what I mean? So it's pretty cool.
I like the cookie. The cookie's my thing.
Oh yeah, the cookie skillet. Yeah, that's my favorite thing actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. I ordered one, I don't know, like a couple months ago. My friend came down or up wherever, whatever the heck he lives. I don't know. And we went there and I ordered it to go because I knew I would have a teensy bit of it and then my kid would eat the rest. And we got home and it wasn't in the bag. And I'm like, come
Oh
on.
man,
So mad. I know I
nah,
shouldn't
man.
have eaten it, but still, I just wanted a
That
little
guy,
bit.
that cookie skillet, man,
Man.
is pretty good, man.
Yeah.
What's
Ashley
up,
around
Ashley?
Kim says, my husband David cooks and we love having our friends over and spoiling them. Same
That's
here.
so cool.
Dano, he grills. So when we have
Well,
company,
we
if
know he grills hot dogs and cheeseburgers, but not barbecue, right? Is that right? Did I say that right?
no, no, he's not really into it. Sometimes I'll like prep some chicken, but he's not really into that. He likes hamburgers and hot dogs and
I
then
like me some ham. I like me
other stuff.
some hamburgers. I like some hot dogs. I mean, so
Yeah.
I know people were clowning on him, but I get what he's saying because I've been to 100 obviously Texas barbecues. Freaking, there's one
Yeah.
right now going on probably down the street. But yeah, there's always going to be burgers and hot dogs. It's just you expect it. It's expected.
That's what he is. He
Yeah,
wants
yeah,
the fundamentals, and then if there's others or extras, then
yeah,
great.
yeah,
But
yeah.
he
I
prefers
get
those
it. I
things.
get it. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I
So
like
I
to
get what
have
you're
them
saying.
too, but I don't eat hot dogs ever, ever, ever. I hate hot dogs. I don't eat pork. I don't
I
eat
don't eat pork
chicken.
either. Yeah, I don't eat
Yeah,
pork. I
none
don't
of
eat.
it.
I eat very, very little beef. I'll eat a tomahawk steak. I'll eat a filet.
That's not little beef.
Well, I don't eat it by myself. I'll share it, but
Okay.
maybe once or twice a year. But a filet
Right. Okay.
mignon, that's it. That's the most I'll do. Me and my wife will
Yeah.
share an 8 ounce or 6 ounce.
Oh
Honestly, I
yeah,
mean,
that's little. It's not too
yeah,
bad.
very little. But beef, chicken, fish. I don't eat shellfish. I don't eat pork. I keep it very
Yeah.
clean. I try to keep it clean and lean because
Except for
I
that
eat so.
chicken. Chicken's filthy in America.
Oh, it is. It is. It is. Big. But I have a friend of mine that he actually has range chicken, so it's not nothing from the store. So it's none of
No, you
all the.
better
None,
worry about that feed, my friend. That
yeah. Well,
GMO corn.
well. He actually he doesn't partake in any of that actually. So the
Oh,
chickens are
good.
very small, but
Okay.
man, they're so good. But yeah, yeah, because a lot of that all that feed, man, is crazy, right? I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. Yeah.
he's so off the grid, and I'm learning so much from this guy.
I'm
He's one of
trying to
my
do that here.
Yeah, it's kind of hard because there's you have to literally how are you going to feed your chicken? Do you guys have chickens? I mean, you guys probably have enough land to do that. I would imagine. I mean, you
We
could.
do. We're on an acre and a half, but I'm afraid to get chickens because I think the dog's gonna kill them.
They may, yeah, pit
Oh
bull.
no, he's a killer.
You have a bull mastiff or a pit bull or something,
No,
or
he's a pit bull, but he's an American Staffordshire Terrier, so
okay,
he's
yeah,
strong, fast.
consider those dead. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
exactly.
going to be a
So
lot of management. Like, okay, let the chickens out, put them in the coop.
right, but they're supposed to be free range, and then
Yeah,
he's gonna
yeah,
murder them.
yeah.
I told you his body
Something to
count. I think his
consider.
body
Yeah.
counts are like 8 now, 8 or 9.
What is he killing?
The animals. He
Squirrels.
killed a raccoon, squirrel,
Okay, raccoons are
chipmunk,
good. Raccoons are good. Squirrels, okay. Squirrels are just rats
and
with fluffy tails, but
yeah, they
chipmunks.
don't come around anymore. Not since
He
he
kills
killed them.
chipmunks. Oh man.
Well, there was only one because I thought it was a rescue story. I ruined that whole thing. I tried to get the chipmunk out because he ran into something, and my dog was there. I was like, "Oh, here, take the camera," to my son, and I like lifted whatever the thing was, and he ran like basically right into my dog's mouth. I was like, "What are you
Oh,
doing, Alvin?" I was
oh
so
man.
like it was horrible. Like I
Oh,
felt
that's
so
horrible.
bad.
That is horrible, man.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not going to go over it, but the story got worse. But it was meant to be a rescue story. And then he killed some mice. We had some dog food that my dog doesn't eat dog food, but we got like a couple of free bags, and I was going to donate it, and I forgot because I've never used dog food for the
Mm.
dog, so I kind of just
Yeah,
forgot
it's
about
not
it.
even really food, honestly. But yeah,
Exactly, but
yeah,
instead of throwing it away, I was just going to give it to at least
yeah.
whatever dogs from the shelter. And so like I found one mouse that was dead, then two, then three, then I'm like, why are they coming in the garage? But I forgot we left that food in there. And the
Wow.
dog was killing them and leaving them next to the food bags.
You got a good
That was,
dog because some
yeah,
dogs don't
he
even
is good.
care. No, you're
No, no,
good.
no. He is listen, anybody coming in, if I tell him they're coming and they're a friend, oh my gosh, he's like gonna knock you down with the licks and the tail wags and all that. But if he doesn't know you're coming, like my sister when she just came in,
Hmm.
he didn't know she was coming in. She usually comes like 5 hours earlier. And he was like, oh no, this
Oh
isn't happening.
hell no! You're on my time now. You're on CPT
Yeah.
time now, baby.
Oh,
You know
he's great.
the funny
Yeah,
thing
he's
is
got his
what I
own
love
time.
about dogs is they are truly men's best friend. Man's best
Yeah.
friend.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were put on Earth. I think they were created. I think they were just like just so geniusly created for people. They
Yeah,
do.
I love the
They
dog.
add so much value to a human being's life. I love
Yeah.
dogs. I
Yeah.
absolutely
Do
love
you have a
dogs.
dog?
I not where I'm renting right now in my house. We're buying a house here, hopefully in a few months.
Okay.
Um, but I did have an American Akita that I bought for my daughter. I've had Schnauzers. I've had,
How was
I've
the Akita with the kids? Because those dogs can be a little
I
touchy.
for my oldest daughter's 16th birthday, I bought her an American Akita. She wanted to
Oh,
see
she
the
was already
Indian.
16.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, with young kids, yeah,
Right.
you hear the stories. One of
Yeah.
my older sisters had a Shiba Inu, but no kids. Great dog, but
We
yeah,
got attacked by one.
they're not. Yeah, they're not really kid dogs. They're really not, unless you really because they're very powerful dogs. They have a very strong personality.
Yeah.
Loyal to a fault. I mean, they're amazing dogs. They only bark when threatened. They never bark. So when you hear your Akita bark, something's up. Okay,
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
But yeah, so I got my daughter for, it was her 16th birthday. I think I bought her a Jeep and an Akita, right? And she was just like, "Oh my god."
Wow.
Oh yeah, so it was so fun. So she always wanted an Akita. So my youngest daughter I took to Japan. So it's funny because my daughters are half Hispanic, half Asian. So my oldest daughter like really loves, really falls in the Hispanic category. Like if you met, they both look kind of Asian, I guess. But I mean, I guess it makes and match.
No, I don't
But
think so. I think
yeah, yeah.
they look pretty well. I saw the one
My
Lemon.
oldest looks Hispanic, 100%, right? So
Yeah.
maybe now she looks kind of Filipino, I guess, Filipino, but
We'll
yeah,
get into that in a second. Yeah.
yeah. So she totally so loves the Hispanic culture. That's where she falls in. She knows she's
Yeah.
half Asian. My
Yeah.
youngest, straight up Asian. I mean, everything is just straight up So growing up,
What, like her look, like her makeup, her attitude?
she even looks more Asian, looks Asian, and
Gotcha.
yeah. So it's like it's funny because I'm looking at a Hispanic chick, a chick or a daughter, and a Hispanic and a Hispanic, an Asian daughter, and it's like I've got it, and they literally act the stereotypes,
Oh my
unfortunately.
gosh.
So
Yeah.
it was a lot of fun raising them. It's so much fun, and
Yeah.
they love to hate each other. I always have a great time when they're in the same room. But I guess, but my oldest daughter, I got her the Akita, which is funny because my youngest was like, "Why would you get her the Akita?" Because Akita is an actual Japanese dog, right? She's like, "Why
Yeah.
would you get her the Akita?" And I
And
actually
I'm the
got,
Asian one.
yeah, I actually got my well, she likes dogs, but she prefers cats, right? So I got her
Oh
a
no, not
Scottish
a
fold.
cat lady daughter.
Yeah. So it's a Scottish fold. So it's the cat that has kind of the oval head with the real short ears.
Mhm.
The cutest cats. They even call them owl cats because the way their heads look.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know
So I
what you're
got
talking
her the cat and I got her the Akita, separate times, of course. And the cat and the Akita, I could never keep them together, obviously.
about. Really? They never became friends?
No, because the Akita was introduced, as a puppy and
Hmm.
then became an adult.
Oh, and
The
then the cat came?
Then the cat came, so that was a problem. Yeah,
Yeah, of
but
course.
long with the short, the Akita was amazing. I That was my favorite. I've had all kinds of dogs. In one of my first IT positions, my first IT jobs was at an animal rescue here in Texas, Pasadena,
Oh, I
actually.
think you mentioned that a little bit.
Yeah. So I got to be it was their first time they actually introduced some sort of adoption based computer based adoption system. So they need to
Mhm.
hire some sort of IT guy. So I work for the city of Pasadena. So I'm in there and I'm around nothing. I'm in an animal shelter essentially. So that's when I realized, and my mom, I'm close with my mom, even though I come from a divorced family, who my mom's always had animals, dogs, poodles, and all these things.
Oh.
So I knew I had a love for animals, but it wasn't until I worked there I realized I don't love dogs. I need a dog.
Oh,
Like
that's cool.
you know what I mean? Like they're just amazing. I love dogs. So growing up, my girls, I make sure at least my oldest, we always had dogs and stuff. And as they got older, 16 years old, I got her the Akita. She has the Akita and everything. And the youngest has the cat. Now that I'm remarried, my stepdaughters want a dog. And I'm like, well, let me get
Hmm.
out of this rental house. We're building a house now, so we will absolutely have dogs. You
That's
know,
cool. Did
yeah.
you hear about Pride?
No, I haven't
They
pride.
had a dog. They had a puppy. And then
Oh,
he said his wife said it was too much and they got rid of the puppy.
oh
I felt
man.
so bad. Yeah.
You
I
know,
actually,
it's kind of, if you get past the first few months, maybe
yeah.
then it's heaven after that, guys. I would tell you that. It's like if
Uh,
especially if it's a puppy because it's a baby, and
no, if you
it
don't train your dog, it can be HELL.
that's right.
I don't say
That's
that
right.
word, but
No, I got you. You're right, 100%. They will.
yeah.
They will. You will be their humans, or he will be your dog, and he needs to be your
Yeah.
dog before that you're his
Yeah.
human. Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I know people like make fun of me all the time because my dog has a bed and like an actual bed, like, and all this stuff. But if I snap, my dog stops whatever dumb nonsense he's doing, unless
And he
it's like
goes to
a
bed.
perceived threat, like an actual, like an animal or like a
Hmm.
man that we don't know. I could snap and then it's done. I don't have to yell at my dog. I never had to hit him, never had to like flex at him. Like I see people do that. He's 90 pounds. I'm like 125 pounds. And this is like my heaviest I've ever
He's
been.
90 pounds and muscle. So
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean,
yeah,
even in his head, when he opens his mouth, it's like as big as my head, literally.
I saw
So,
him in the car one time with Prado. He did a live a while back, and I
oh,
remember
yeah. Yeah.
I was like, damn.
Yeah.
Explains a lot. Explains a
But
lot.
like Dano, because I was not allowed to have a dog when I was growing up. I'm allergic, and I don't know, my mom just said no. And all my best friends had dogs. It was so annoying. So
Mhm.
finally, I think even Dano said no for a while because I thought that I wasn't going to be able to handle a dog. But I'm like obsessed with pit bulls. I was obsessed. I studied everything. I knew like if we get this staffy, that's what you call these dogs. They're like high drive, high
Absolutely.
energy, and strong,
Yeah.
so they can deal with little boys beating them up or whatever, roughing them up and stuff. And they have the drive, but then they can calm down too. Like when it's time to just go lay down. My dog could like run around, have his zoomies. Zoomies like when they spin around a lot and they,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So he can have the zoomies, but then if you go lay down, he'll just go and lay down. He's always ready to like pop off. So you got to be careful. But we got him, and I was like, all right, like I gotta have control of him because Dano is all the time at work and the boys are here. And like a few times I saw him, like I would yell at my youngest son because I think he was like 6 when we got him. And he, like, my dog would run over to him and like push him into his bedroom when he didn't listen to me. And at first, like, we would laugh about it, and I was like, oh no. I think he's like trying to tell him what to do. So I had to like start like shutting stuff down. And then he started like stepping on my son. Like,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
right. And
It's
that's a bad thing.
a bad
That
thing, man.
that's
Yeah.
like
Jumping
beyond,
up
it's like,
on you and all
no,
those
no,
little. Yeah.
literally stepping on him like, dude, you belong beneath me. So I had to tell
Oh
my
yeah.
boys cues, and I'm like, when he's doing this, you better move. When he's doing that, you better this, that, and the other. And to this day, my 14-year-old, if my dog like looks at him like this and opens his mouth, he's not to bite him, but he'll open
Yeah.
his mouth because he knows like David doesn't like that. So if I open my mouth, he'll get off me because kids act like the dogs are not human. He'll be
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
squeeze him and all that, but when he's ready, he looks over and opens his mouth, and David's like, all right, I'm done, sorry. But like there's so many things like I realized because he knocked me down like 3 times ever.
Mhm.
But this was when he was still like he was a big puppy, but he was a puppy. And
Yeah.
I was like, he was like 55 pounds. And I was like, oh my gosh, if
Heavy
he can
dog.
knock me down like that, then I
At
gotta get him
55,
insured.
right? 55 pounds.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Now he's 92 pounds. So if he wants to do what he's gonna do, he's gonna do it. So I knew from then I was like tight, 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 tight. Whatever it is, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't be in the bed, you can't like whatever it is. And people when
Mhm.
they come in, I'm like, don't talk to him, don't make eye contact. And they
You know
think
what?
that's weird, but
No,
it keeps them in line.
he's your dog,
Yeah,
and you have that dog for two reasons: to what? To protect you.
yeah.
Most important that you get a dog. We know it's good to have a dog. It's going to protect us, but also to be there for stress because dogs just are amazing for therapy for as human beings because dogs are just they're such social creatures
Oh
and
yeah, he's ridiculous.
they understand they live and thrive in a pack, right? We know how dogs are, so they understand hierarchy, who's the alpha, who's the beta. So as long as the thing about a dog is working at that shelter, I got to really work with a lot of dog trainers and understand and really understand that it's not really that dogs need to be trained, it's people that need to be trained because
Yeah.
when a dog bites, when a dog is out of
Oh, they
control.
let you know.
Yeah,
Before they act up, they let you know. You just
yeah,
have to pay
yeah.
attention and
You as a
learn what.
human being, you need to know the cue because all dogs are the same. They all act the same unless if you watch a dog in a pack, everybody knows their place because you have that alpha.
Yeah.
There is
And they
structure.
even move around sometimes. They'll switch alphas too
Yeah,
because
yeah,
they
yeah, for sure.
understand that you need a give and take. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, for sure, right? There's just a structure there. So what happens is we bring a dog in or an animal in, specifically a dog into our home, and it's like, oh, they're the cutest thing ever. They're just fluff and stuff, right? We love them, right? And but they never learn boundary structure. So
Right.
they think they're at our level, and it's not. And what? And the unfortunate thing is we sort of some humans that think, oh no, this is my fur baby, and
No, that's the worst thing you can
yeah,
do.
yeah, no, 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 no. That's your. I understand you love the dog, but the
Yeah.
dog is a dog, and as long as they understand they are a dog and you are not, you are the alpha. That will be the best dog ever. But yeah, we as humans, a lot of the times, whenever there was some sort of dog training come, they would have dog training at the shelter. It
Yeah.
was usually training the humans. It was never correcting the dog. It was always correcting the human. Like no, 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 you're holding the leash wrong. No, no, no.
Oh yeah, even
You need
that.
to,
I
yeah,
have to tell people.
you need to look at the dog this way. Don't do this. Don't do that. They're telling the human. I'm sitting there watching, like, okay, okay. Obviously, there's a pattern here. So I think
Yeah.
most of the time it's a people problem more than it is than a dog problem. But not, there are dogs obviously that have issues, but nine times out of 10, it's all about where they came from. They grew up from some human being that never really taught them structure. You're going to
Yeah.
have a problem on your hand, right? For 100%.
Yeah, I shut it down all the time. I shut other people's dogs down too. My sister's here with her two dogs, and she's nice and everything like that, and she's done what she's done. But I have way stricter rules, so we're keeping the dogs apart. And her one dog was like jumping, and we let him off the leash so he could run around. And this was like a couple hours ago, and he was running like a psycho, and he like blasted the other dog, like slammed, and the other dog's 14 years old. He did that crap on purpose. And I was like, and I don't really yell. And I yelled at him. He was like, whoa, whoa. I wasn't
Yeah.
expecting it. And then you know what he did? He went right next to my son and walked right in heel. And he's not even like a heel dog. Like he doesn't even know what that means.
Yeah.
My dog, he walks in heel. He's on your left
Really?
side because I have a cane. So he's
Mm.
my service dog as well. So I have my cane in my right hand and I hold him in my left hand and he has to stay on the left side. I'll let him loose or whatever, but when we say heel, he knows what that means. He knows what side he's supposed to be on.
That's
And if
so
someone
cool.
puts him on the wrong side, he'll move over there. But
That is
Richard
so
Hudman
cool.
wants to know what kind of dog I have. I'm gonna show you because he's really cute. He's a big boy though. He's an American Staffordshire Terrier, and this is what he looks like. It's slowly
Okay.
loading. That's
Yeah.
him.
I'd absolutely just stop, and I would stop. Like, okay, what's up, dog?
Everybody used to pull over when we lived in the city. They used to pull over, especially
He's
men.
pretty.
Do you want to? Yeah, your dog is so pretty. Do you want to mate him? I'm like, dude, they took his business before we even could do anything.
Kind of
And
looks
when
like
I
a
told
blue,
the
like kind
boys
of
that,
like
they
kind of looks
hated
like a
it.
blue healer right here. I mean, that's like a hunting dog, but
He's a hunting dog, but no, he's thicker. Like if you see
yeah.
him next to someone or something, his paws are huge, his head is huge. He's like a healer's like a thinner.
One thing that the people in the shelter would tell us that that pit bulls are the worst guard dogs because they love people.
Well, no, it depends.
Well, and unless they're trained, right? Unless they
No,
under
we didn't train him to do that. Pit bulls are, first of all, pit bulls are to dogs as black is to human, right? So you
Mhm.
see how Pride looks, but he's black, and how I look, and I'm black. It's just
Yeah.
it's a generalization.
Yeah, he likes
So
lava cakes. You like cookies. I get it. Yeah.
yeah, no, it's
Oh, it's
not
not the
like
same thing.
our race. Like I don't know. Let's say he's Jamaican, and I'm
Oh, gotcha. Got it. Yeah.
whatever I am. Like because I'm obviously I'm mixed, but
Mhm.
so there's different kinds of pit bulls, but there's an American Pit Bull Terrier, that's their breed, and King Leo's breed is American Staffordshire Terrier. There's other ones too. So you can't there's some things that they do that are similar that are generally like a bunch of stuff that black people do, but whatever. It's not always the same. His personality is like that. So I wanted to put him in like classes for like protection. Even with protection dogs, you still have to like watch how they are as puppies because some of them are just scaredy cats and they don't make good protection dogs. Doesn't matter what you do. That's
Yeah.
just their temperament. It's just like humans. So this guy, nobody had to teach him. I've told him before. I'm like, dude, that's not your job. And he's like, no, I'm a working dog. This is my job. So, but
Yeah.
I've trained him to calm down and to turn it off. But then sometimes, he's just ready. So if you let him know
Mhm.
like something's gonna happen, he's all right with it. But if you don't, then he's
Yeah.
sitting on ready. Like that's just how he is. But my sister's got a pit bull. Hers is an American Pit Bull Terrier. He's like the thinner one.
Mhm.
Scared of everything. I took him down the stairs. He started crawling. I'm like, what is this dog doing?
He's
She
like
said
crawling
he's
like
scared of the stairs, literally crawling. I'm like, yo, I don't know. It's wild. It is wild.
and a scared dog is a dangerous dog.
Yes. So mine, he's scared. But his fear, he's just like, okay, I don't know what this dog's gonna do. I don't know if this
Yeah.
animal, this
Well,
person.
that's a
I'd
natural
rather just
fear.
kill
Right.
it.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
Right.
he's like, I'd
Right.
rather
Right.
just kill it.
Yeah.
I'll see what. I don't want to know what it's gonna do.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
gonna stop the threat. That's kind of what we're talking. Stop
Yes,
the
that's
threat.
exactly what he
Yeah.
does. But I'm fine with that because it's helped me out. Especially like Dano wasn't there. I could walk him 3 o'clock in the morning, and everybody. How you said you smile at people, dude.
Mhm.
The whole sea parted for me. I loved it. At first, I used to feel bad because he looked like he wanted to see people and whatever. And then I was like, you know what? I don't even care. Just beat it. Get off my sidewalk. I
That's
didn't say
right.
that out
That's
loud
right.
because that's rude. But
Yeah. Get off. Right. I like Jason Hughes's comment. He says that, or is it Juan Martinez?
No, it's
Uh,
Jason Hughes. That is, I wonder who that is because my
well,
friend's husband's name is Jason Hughes, but he doesn't go by Jason. That's wild. Anyway, he's an American Staffordshire Terrier.
I like Juan Martinez. The comment right above him, Doberman. So Dobermans are to me the most ferocious freaking animal ever. I mean, they
They
are.
just look like it.
Yeah, they're considered man killer sort of German shepherds, but they are. Man, that's cool that you were able to have two Dobermans, like full grown, not the minis. I would imagine they're
Yeah,
beautiful animals, right?
no
but
one
they
cares
rate.
about the minis.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but yeah, they're amazing dogs, man. They're beautiful animals, and they're loyal to a fault, and they make amazing guard dogs. I mean, because they will kill you. I mean, they don't mess
Yeah,
around, and they're powerful dogs, right? Their snout, man.
yeah,
That's
they're thin but powerful. Yeah,
yeah,
for
yeah,
sure.
yeah,
My uncle
and
has a Rottie. We're
yeah,
into it. Yeah.
Rots are very powerful dogs. My mom, she has a German Shepherd who we made into a service dog, and I bought my
Mm-hmm.
mom recently a standard poodle, which is the very not the
Oh,
miniature
the big
poodle,
one.
the big one, yeah. And she loves her Shepherd, which was I think was a gift, purebred German Shepherd. He is
Too
the
much
most
fur for me.
yeah, he is the
I would
most
die.
amazing. Like he is by my mom's side every second of the day.
Yeah.
And then the standard poodle is just, she prances. It's funny because
Yes.
she's all there, she's for show, but she loves them
Yeah.
both, right? But my mom absolutely loves animals. Those are her babies, unfortunately, or I would say unfortunately, but fortunately, because I say unfortunately
They're
because
grown now.
yeah, because
She's baby
they
still.
get more attention than I do, but whatever, it's
Yeah,
all good
no,
for my
I
mom.
totally get it. I love animals too, but I'm so allergic to so many of them. But, I still like to be nice to them and stuff. I'm always
Yeah,
like looking out for them. But let's get back to some of these
sure.
questions. So I know you're like a big Bitcoin guy. Was that the first crypto that you got into?
The very first crypto that I actually bought was Cardano. I,
Oh,
yeah, so
okay.
Cardano was the very first one that I bought. I probably bought about $1,000 worth, and it was probably 3 to 5 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, the first time I got into crypto, I bought it, forgot about it, and then it went up to like 11 cents, and then I think it went as high as 55 cents, and I was like, oh man, I was like, well, that's great. But then I was looking at the same time I had learned we were already paying attention to Bitcoin. And I'm like, how come it's not doing what Bitcoin did? How come it's not $200 or $1,000, right? Um, so I kind of lost interest. I was like, I bought it. It was, I think for Cardano, that was the one that kind of introduced me to the whole process, creating a wallet, buying it, transferring and all that stuff, sending to a wallet. But when I got into Bitcoin is when I really made the conscious decision, never again. Like, and
Never
everybody knows
again
this.
what?
Well, because a buddy of mine was like, hey man, let's buy some Bitcoin, and it was just $9, $8, $9. Let's buy $1,000 worth of Bitcoin each. It was a little bit more, but I say 1,000. It was a lot more, but I would say maybe 2,000 each. He goes, let's just throw $1,000 at it each. And at this time, I was doing my, new and raising a family. My girls were babies. I didn't have $1,000. It's a lot of money to a lot of people. It is to me too. Don't get me wrong. Um,
Yeah.
but to just throw it at something that I have absolutely no faith in, I don't even know anything about it. Like it's like I don't got $1,000 just to throw it, on something that we don't know what it's going to do. And so he took he took 1,000 that I was going to throw in plus this. So he put like two. I think he probably put ultimately like three K in. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
he took $3,000, just under $3,000, bought some Bitcoin, and a few years pass. Okay, 2 3 years. And all of a sudden, he sends me a screenshot. He sends me an image, on my phone, and it's a picture of his wallet. And he's got damn near $1,000,000 in there, right?
Oh
And
wow.
I'm like, yeah, it's like 700K around here. But I was like, the what? I was like, what is that? He's like, what is that? What are you talking about? I go, what is that? He goes, bro. He goes, you should have bought in. I go, look at my wallet.
Oh
Look,
no.
and I was like, what? So I was really kicking myself because around that
Yeah.
time, my business was doing well. I was very cash. I would say I was all about cash flow. Of course, as I'm servicing these businesses, I got cash flow coming in, but I was really cash dependent, to pay the bills and everything. So
Yeah.
$1,000,000 would have really changed
Of
my life.
course.
I've had millions of dollars flow through my business, but to
But it's
actually
not liquid. It's a little different.
right to
Hmm.
capture it, right, actual profit, I got to pay bills, pay employees,
Yeah.
um pay myself and all these things. So,
Yeah.
but it's different, right? So, you could say we make $100 million a year, but it's different when are you actually captured? I mean, is that in
Right.
the
Are you
bank, right?
seeing any of that? Can you
Right,
use it?
right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, so he bought it. He showed me about just over 700K. And I was like, damn, I was just beside myself. I was like, damn, I mean, that could have really helped me out.
Hmm.
And he ends up selling most of it, buys a Lamborghini. Um, I don't know. I don't even think he paid off his house. He went and bought a car
What the
with it.
heck?
Yeah. So bought a Rolex, bought a Lamborghini. So that's why when people talk, win Lambo, I'm like, hell no,
No.
because he did that. Okay. But
Yeah.
and about that time, Bitcoin was just over 20K around that time, and it was climbing. So then when it went to 60K, I reached out to him. Well, actually, when that happened, I immediately started buying Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Okay. I was putting about as much as I could, $5, $10, $1,000, whatever I could muster weekly into Bitcoin. Ever since then, I've been doing that.
And how
I'm
long
either
ago was that?
2013.
Okay.
Right. So since 2013, I've been putting it's been as small as $1, as high as $1,000 a week. Okay.
Right. Whatever you can.
Whatever it varies, right? Since
Hmm.
then. Okay. And so I've been doing that. And then when it went to 60K, still wasn't even close to where he was at, obviously. But I remember reaching out to him, saying, bro, where are you at? 60K, dude, you must be freaking, what are you, $100 million, whatever, $50 million. He's like, nah, man, I sold all my Bitcoin. And I'm like, he had already sent me pictures of his Lambo and his Rolex. That's
Yeah.
the only thing that I know that he bought. I'm sure he bought other things. And I'm like, what? He goes, yeah, man, I sold it off, man. I mean, I was like, why would you do that? And now, because I'm, of course, I can say that because, it's retro, it's kind of like retrospective, like, dude, come on, why would you do that?
Hmm.
But at the time, I'm dollar cost averaging in, trying to get where he was at. And when it went to 60, I was doing pretty good. I was happy, right? And then it dropped down to about 30. And now it's at about 26, almost just under 30. But I've been buying it ever since. Okay.
Hmm.
And Chris Cruz is still the Bitcoin daddy of all that. I would tell that I
Oh
don't have as
yeah. I
many.
think you
I don't.
mentioned that
I don't
in the
have as many
comments.
Bitcoin as Chris Cruz. But because I mean I've acquired a lot, and I would sell it, pay debt off, bought some things, move money around. Use it when I need it. But there he is. but I have a bag that for me it is my stable in a sense.
Right.
And although
No,
it is
that's good.
volatile, it's not like the USDC or anything like that. But I have never been out of profit since I've bought in Bitcoin ever. So
Yeah, Dano's all ready to get into that. And
yeah.
I my own Bitcoin story was I remember years ago, I want to say like 15 years ago, maybe around that time, there
Mhm.
was like a couple of documentaries, and I remember seeing these guys in the base. They look like basement nerds, like basement geeks, these pale guys with glasses, skinny,
Yeah.
and just they were like talking about mining and all this stuff. And
Worth
I'm like,
billions, but yeah, go ahead.
yeah, I mean, well, then no,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
was like, Dano, we should do this, and he was like, oh, blah blah blah, and I just wasn't, I had kids and whatnot. I didn't have
Yeah, yeah, you're
the
living
time
life,
to be
right?
trying to set everything up. I mean, I could do it at night, but I just wasn't sure, and I just let it go because I just thought it was going to be too much, like leaving all these computers plugged in and whatnot.
Oh,
And he didn't really want to do it.
actually mining, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
this
done
was
some
in the
mining.
beginning
Yeah.
when nobody knew what
Mhm.
Bitcoin was, and there was these like I don't even know if it was Netflix, but I think so. Because yeah, I think it was like maybe the
There was a
Netflix, and
Netflix
they had the
documentary. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
There
but
was
it
a
was
few
a
documentaries.
long time
It
ago.
was
Like
probably
I'm
yeah,
not sure. So yeah, it was pretty crazy, and I remember just thinking about that, and like now it's like I could still mine, but it's a
yeah.
lot, and
It
it's
is a lot.
expensive, and
I've got a client that is like he built a rig. He built a rig a couple of years ago. You're not gonna. I mean, mining is great, but
hmm
you're gonna make some money, but you're not gonna. It's not gonna be what it used to be. Now the halving is
no,
coming
no,
around, and Daniel talks about it all the time. I mean, the community talks about it,
yeah,
understandingly, it's all about reputation. If you're gonna be mining, you've got to make sure that you can handle the storm, because when there's power outages, and you got to understand there's power consumption, you got to have computing
yeah,
power. It costs money to mine. It really does.
yeah,
And you can go set up a rig at your house, but understandingly, you're going up against data centers, There are
Yeah.
hundreds of millions of dollars spent on acres of land, 30,
I
40, 50
know,
acres.
it's
That's
crazy.
who you're going up against, guys. So
But you
I'm
know
not.
what? I'm just like, let me just get my little piece. I'll take the crumbs. You know, we got
Yeah.
solar
So
panels.
while they're probably mining, hundreds of millions of
Right.
dollars a month, you're probably getting hundreds of dollars a month. Maybe thousands. But
And see, for me, like that would be fine because it's like
yeah,
just enough
yeah,
for
yeah.
me to,
Right. Yeah,
take my
it,
vacations or go out with the girls or
and that's
whoever.
that's the key, Leona, is so that's when we go back to wealth is subjective, right?
Hmm.
It's relative. Wealthy to
Yeah.
you is, or I would say relative, but subjective could be different. So for some people, I just want to mine just enough to pay for. I want a vacation every year.
Yeah. Just a little
You
bit
know,
of extras.
and that's the key to success and to building.
Yeah.
And wealth is obviously different for everyone else, all right? But whatever your plan is, especially in crypto, obviously everybody wants to get the moonshot and make $1 million. Who doesn't, right? I
No,
mean, it's
I
that.
will be honest. There are some people who know they're not going to be good there, and they're like, "No, I can't have $1 million. I only want like 100,000, and that's it."
Wisdom. That I just want to pay the house off and then I'll be
Yeah,
happy, right?
yeah.
Yeah. That's wisdom, right? That's definitely
Well, that's
wisdom.
for
That
them.
that's
I'll
actually
take the million.
yeah, I'll take the million too for sure. Um, it's one thing to have to say, "Oh, I want to make $1 million," but it's what are you going to do when you get it? So as long as you have a
Yeah,
plan, you should
definitely a
always
plan.
everyone should have a plan in both. As running a business and running my business finances and then my personal finances, they mirror each other. So I have a plan for both, right? So it's one thing to say, all right, so I want to make $1 million, but there's a couple of questions to ask. Well, first, how are you going to make it? And
Hmm.
then what are you going to do when you get it?
Right.
Because money is finite. And what that means,
Yeah.
it moves. It has to move. If it's not moving, it's not doing you any good. You either
Right.
need to spend it or you need to make it. It just sitting there, it does nothing. It's not, it doesn't do anything. So because it's finite, you have to have, you hear me say it all the time, on paper, on purpose, every penny has a name, every dollar has a name, right? So as long as you've got a plan, if you're going to mine, as long as you're planning, I'm just going to mine enough to do this.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And if you hit that goal, that's it. You're happy, right? And
Yeah.
that's where happiness comes from. It's like
Well,
money
no,
doesn't.
I'm a decided happy person.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
That's
for
even better.
sure.
For sure. Yeah, that's even
Yeah,
better. It's like you don't need this to be happy. I'm
I'm
happy
happy
already.
with it.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right, right.
Yes, I
With
hear what
it
you're saying.
or without it, right?
Right. Yep.
Because money only amplifies.
Whatever you got
If
going on, whatever you
if you're an
feel.
asshole, you're gonna be a very rich asshole. Okay,
Yeah.
and that's just the way it is. Money doesn't
Yeah.
solve any problems, and one of the things that money does, one of the things that I've learned about money is, it's up there with oxygen. You kind of need it to survive. So once you understand that you need it, then you
Yeah.
can accept the fact that you need to make it. So
No,
what?
you take it. We don't make money. We take money.
Well, there it is. We take money for sure. Yeah, that's actually
Yep.
another way of looking at it. We take it
Yeah.
from somebody, right?
Yeah.
Because someone's got it, so we got to take it. Yep,
Yes.
yep. That's right. You're exactly right about that. Yep,
Yeah. And when you think of it that way, it's like, okay, are you snatching it or are you giving something in return?
that's right.
Because that helps
You're either giving or taking, right?
Yeah, so you can take it, but you can take it nicely, and you can give someone something in return for what you
That's
just
right.
took from them. But there's some people who just like they're just out there just snatching, snatching,
Yeah, yeah.
snatching, and that's
Yep,
bad. Because either way, you're going to take the money, but are you going to give someone something in return? And that is important. That's it. That's it. You got to think about that stuff. The
yeah,
mindset.
yep,
When you're making money, taking money, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, for sure. Because
yeah,
there's a lot of
yeah,
people
for
out there
sure.
that love money.
They
It's
love
tough.
they love money more than they love people, and those are the ones that actually
That's
hurt
the
people,
root.
right?
That's the
Yeah,
root of all evil. People will
yeah.
say money's the root. It's not. It's
No,
the
no.
love of money.
It's the love
Listen,
of money.
we need money. There's always been a currency, whatever it was. If it was
Mhm.
bartering something else, became gold, whatever it was. There's always been money. That we need a currency for something, but you gotta have things in perspective, and
Yeah, I believe that governments that realize that currency is to me is a facade, right? Like money, gold, commodities. The
yeah,
greatest commodity on planet Earth is people, because if people stop, like every person in the world tomorrow decides not to go to work,
it's
you
shut
will
down.
yeah, you will see the world. You will realize exactly what actually has value, not the
Yeah,
money, but the people. You are more
people in that
valuable.
time.
Yep. You are more valuable than any dollar. Once you understand and I say, I think I try to say this as often as I can, that, whenever, if I'm going to to commit to anything, it's going to cost me some life energy. We are all
Yeah.
given a certain amount of hours in our life for our lifetime, right? Million
Yeah.
hours, 1,000 hours. We don't know what our bank is full with. A baby could be born and they're only going to be given 1,000 hours of life. What are they,
Yeah.
or 1,000,000 hours? You don't know, right? You
Yeah.
don't
You just
know.
never know.
So yeah, once you understand that I'm actually running on a clock here, what are you going to do with your life energy? Is my life energy that I can never get back, is it worth the dollar that I'm giving it up for? You know,
Right.
but the most important thing in life is relationships, is people,
Hmm.
the people you surround yourself with, because those are the things that I believe truly that you leave with whatever legacy. You can say, "Oh, I left $100 million to my kids," but are
But
my
do they
kids?
even know you?
Yeah, but do my kids? But are my kids taking that $100 million and actually making people, or I would say contributing to society, right? And
Yeah.
making and
Yeah. I'm
and
all about charity and stuff like
yeah,
that.
yeah. Are they actually contributing and helping others and those types of
Hmm.
things?
Yeah.
One of the things I love about at least America is we give so much money to other countries in the world, right? Um,
Sometimes I like it.
Yeah, well, we give, and I'm talking about churches, right? Like a
Yeah.
church, like the churches I've been a part of. Oh my God, we've given hundreds of millions of dollars, in the last 30
Yeah. We have
years. And
several charities around the world
yeah,
that
yeah, and I'm
give
not
money.
talking. I'm not talking about the involuntary tax.
Right. Right. That's
No,
what
well,
I was
it's
thinking of. I was
it's
like, what
not
the heck?
really involuntary. Try not paying it. I mean, it's like if
Yeah.
you don't pay it, they show up with a gun and take it from you. So I'm talking
Even the
about real.
guns.
I'm talking about real charity, or you're like,
Yes. Yeah, I
what?
agree.
I don't have to give this. I want to give this, and I
Hmm.
absolutely love people at the end of the day. I believe in humanity. I do see the good in people, but I also understand that where there is good, there is evil. I am not ignorant to that fact. So I always inspect what I expect, trust but verify. I try to do right and fear no man. I mean, all these things really play into how my day goes out from sun up to sundown, because there's always someone out there that's trying to rip someone off, at the end of the day.
Yeah, no,
You know.
that's true. But about families, I remember, like you mentioned, your family a while ago about Seifu and how Seifu changed their lives.
Mhm.
What happened with that, and where are they from?
Mm. So that is from the Cambodian. Um,
Okay.
Cambodia, actually Thailand. So
Oh wow.
around that area, I don't want to give too much detail.
Hmm.
Cambodia, it's a mix. It's a hybrid of Cambodia and Thailand, in that region. But yeah, they actually bought into Seifu. They put in their life savings.
Hmm.
And it's a husband and a wife and some kids. And remember, I explained to you my history with my ex-wife and her family, right? So I'm
Right.
very
Right.
close. I grew up around a lot of Asians. When my dad finally decided to, okay, we're not moving anymore. It was in a community with mainly Vietnamese and
Okay.
Cambodians, yeah, and Filipino. So that's kind of the gist of my when I was obviously forming into the man that I was going to be, but when I really got to test those principles, it was
Hmm.
around a bunch of Asians, and I learned
Yeah.
I learned completely that our cultures are completely different. I learned what it was, what real hard work. I wouldn't say real hard work is, but I really learned what um what a family does for the greater good. In fact, like
Right.
my,
They're
my
they're very
the
close knit.
the
It's
the
like,
immigrant mentality that I try to speak of as often as I can. I'll never forget most of the businesses that I frequented when I was a young man. They were mainly businesses owned by Asians, and you always saw the husband and the wife, the mom and
and then
dad,
there's kids in there.
the kids
Sometimes
in
a
there. They're
cat.
running the
Yeah.
business. You know what
Yeah.
happens? They're running the business, and they save up enough money to buy another business to give to one of the
Yeah.
kids, and then they
Yeah.
they rinse and repeat. Before you know it, they own 5 to 10 businesses. Everybody
Yeah.
has their own store, and they're
Yeah.
all
They
worth
work together.
they're
Yeah.
all worth millions. Yeah, and then it's just a mentality that we can't.
Mentality is very different. Here it's
Very
like
different. Yeah.
separate. So I hate the concept of the nuclear family, but I won't get into that now.
Yeah, yeah. All right. No, I got you. No,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
understand what you're saying. So to the family that actually benefited from the first run of Seifu,
Hmm.
they bought into it. They put whatever their life savings was. I won't go into
Right.
that, but
Yeah.
they were able to cash out several $100,000. Okay, just north of 200,000. And if you know where they're from and you understand their economy,
Hmm.
They were able to pay off. They were basically able, what they made in a year, relative to that over $200,000 was 20 years worth of salary.
That's
Right.
crazy.
Right.
I love stories like that.
Based on their income. I mean, obviously there's different levels of income. I mean,
Oh
they
yeah, of
weren't
course. Like here, that's
yeah,
like
they weren't
yeah,
doctors, they weren't politicians, they were like
right.
farmers, okay?
Yeah,
You understand what I'm saying? So when they're making hundreds of dollars a year and all of a sudden they've got 200K plus sitting in the bank, and how do they get into it? Well, it had a lot to do with me. They knew that I was getting into
yeah.
Seifu, and
And
so
they
they
just trusted you. Did you have to like? Was it a little
I
back
mean,
and
it was
forth?
like, hey guys, I'm getting into this project. It was, well, because there was a guy named RJ that was in Seifu, and he was Asian, right? So obviously,
Yeah.
I'm married to the family, right? Well, I used to be married to the family at the time. That was my ex in laws,
Hmm.
friends of family. So obviously, they know who I am. I talk to them all the
Yep.
time. We do FaceTimes all the time. I'm talking to them all the time overseas. Um, but and on Facebook and all these things, but they see the community that I'm a part of, which is the RJ was one of the first guys that got me into Seifu. He's Filipino, he's Asian,
Hmm.
and I was like, hey, you guys need to go check out RJ. They see RJ, an Asian guy. Well, Asians trust Asians the most, for
Yeah,
most,
they
and
do.
you know what I mean. And he's a very smart guy, and he was actually showing his wallets, and he's showing his profits. He's showing his wallets of say he's showing his actual wallet in Seifu.
Like
He's
how
well
much
over
is in there and everything.
yeah, he had over
Wow.
100 grand. Yeah, so they had already got into it because of me, and they kept buying in, and then all of a sudden I'm introducing them. It's all about the same time within the same
Hmm.
okay, with the same time period. They're seeing RJ, they're hearing me, and they were like, they made enough money to cash out, and it wasn't like they cashed out 250K. Okay, like guys, you're gonna go
They
look.
can do whatever they want. Yeah.
But it wasn't like one sell. Okay,
Hmm.
they had multiple wallets. Okay, because
Oh
I
wow.
because I told them to do that. It wasn't one
Oh,
wallet.
okay. So
Yeah,
you gave them a
yeah, they had.
strategy.
Yeah. I told them, don't put all your eggs in one basket. They had a bunch of family members doing it. Everybody had a wallet. They were able to muster up well over 250,000 plus dollars, and
That's great.
around that. And anyways, they were able to buy the house they were in, the land that they were on, or whatever farm they were on. They
Hmm.
own that, and their salaries are paid for damn near 20 years. Well, if you think about what does that mean exactly, well, if you're 20 years old, I mean, what, you're going to be 40? What, now you got to work again? No, they were already in their 50s. Okay.
Mm. Oh,
So
so they're
20,
set. Pretty
yes.
much set for
So
life.
they're set through their 70s, and their kids are
Yeah.
set. They own,
Yeah.
now that they're working their farm, whatever they're
Yeah, they can
doing out
sell
there.
stuff from the farm. They can eat from the farm. So that's
Right,
gonna,
right.
yeah, that's
Yeah. So,
great.
so, so they became basically they became the masters. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
I wish we had that here.
yeah, right, right. So that
It's
to me, so for me, for the safe food story, that is
yeah,
what I always go back to.
that's great.
Now, obviously, since then till now, things, it's not the same. It's not the same.
No, of
It
course
is
not. I think everything changes.
everything changes, but that I saw that, and I'm like, to them, they're millionaires. It wasn't a
Right.
million bucks, but to them, it was million. To
Yeah.
them, they can live the rest of their lives comfortably,
Of
right?
course, wealth is subjective.
Right, right. So,
Hmm.
and that's what people need to understand. It was like, what were the millionaires? Well, I mean, to them, they're millionaires. To
Yeah,
me,
because
they
listen,
are.
everybody doesn't need like we're in a pretty big house. I was telling my friend this, and I'm like, listen, big house, big bills.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Oh, yeah.
the
Oh,
amount,
yeah.
because I mean, Danny makes a lot of money,
Mhm. But is
but
it?
it
But it's to
doesn't
pay
seem
that.
like it because you just have to pay so many things, and it's
Mhm.
like,
Oh, yeah.
that's part of the reason why I
You
got these little
never
baby
really own
jobs.
your house in America.
Right. I mean, even
You may
if
pay it off, but you're still
paid
paying
off, and then
taxes.
you still got to pay the tax, and the taxes are expensive here. But like that's part of the reason why I got these little baby jobs, because like I don't need to work, but I just felt bad when I'm like, hey, I want to get
Mhm.
this done in the yard. Like last year, I got 4 trees cut. It's
Mhm. Oh,
expensive,
yeah, that's
so
thousand
I
bucks
just did some.
plus $1,000 right there, easy. Yeah,
Oh yeah, like
we'll have guys come to my last house. I was like, I need to trim some trees. It's about 6K.
yeah, I was
What?
gonna say like 1,000 per tree.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous. So
exactly.
I
So I'm
just
like, I'll
figured
do
out,
it
I'm like, all right,
myself.
this is how many jobs I need to do
Yeah.
to work, to get this paid, and then that one, and then like for when I want to go somewhere, whatever it is. Like I just feel like, oh, I like to have parties, and I could just be like, hey Dano, blah blah blah, or it could just be like, hey Dana, we're having a party, and I just pay for the crap, and he shows up. Sometimes he's got to cook on
Yeah.
the grill, but sometimes
He
no.
brings the
But it's just
cheeseburgers, right?
easier. Yeah, yeah, and I'm the sous chef, so he needs the
Uh,
cheese ready. He needs the spatula. He needs a lot. He's like a bit of a devo of a chef
a
out there on the
Devo.
grill,
I
but
don't think I've ever heard Devo, but
yeah, yeah, that's the male version. Yeah,
if
it's
there is
real.
such a thing,
Yeah,
it's
it's real. It's
Devo.
real, real.
All right, all
But
right.
yeah, so it's pretty crazy, like when you think about all this stuff. But I do like the thought of it, and oh my gosh, when I saw the amount that we got, because I'll just say, like, I don't remember, like it was like six something, 6.95 of the Esco, and then when I saw
Oh,
how
oh, you're
much
talking about last night with
last
the Esco.
night, yeah, I was excited, and then when
Yeah.
he said refund, I was like, oh my gosh, why?
Yeah, we were on a live, and we knew that we were going to be in the midst of the Esco launch. When we
Yeah,
did
I
a
was
live.
on you guys' live for a minute until Dano went
Yeah, yeah,
on. So
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And we knew he was going to cover it because we did. I
Mhm.
wasn't invested or anything. I wasn't. Some of the
Right.
guys on the live were,
I
but
think NR was, right?
yeah, NR
Maybe a
and
little bit.
but
And
I wasn't.
Chris?
I wasn't like watching the charts or anything like that. So Terry wasn't, but
Hmm.
so we were just gonna just be lighthearted and talk about whatever. And of course, Esco took over the conversation.
Yeah, it got crazy.
And yeah, so I mean, for some of those that like Rich, I believe Rich Heidemann was one. They had like 74 Esco, I
Yeah,
think.
he got a good
Yeah,
amount.
he was well over $1 million. Well, honestly, the truth is there wasn't enough liquidity in there to make him a millionaire. So,
Yeah.
many will say, "Man, I had $1 million." No, there wasn't enough liquidity in there to make you a millionaire. If everybody started selling, and I mean, if everybody took profit, there's not enough to pass around. I
Right, right,
mean, and
right.
that's just math. However, I mean, it was exciting to see it go up to 16K. I mean, I was like, "Whoa, shit! Okay,
Yeah,
it's
it was
crazy,
tough.
right?" And
Yeah.
Danny did say it's going to go well over. It's going to go 10K plus. And so when it hit 12, 11K, I was like, damn, he's got to shave his head, because he said he would. But
Listen, I'm ready to do it. So if was it Jay Mouse? He said
yeah,
he was. Yeah, if
it
he's
was,
still up for it, I'm ready.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So, it was a lot. It looked to be like a lot of people to make a lot of money. And obviously there was a fiasco and they're doing
Yeah,
their,
they'll handle that all.
yeah,
But
they're
just to
doing their
see
thing
the
to fix it.
numbers
They're doing
and
the
then
thing to
to have
fix
it
it.
just like, you're so high and then just take it away. It
Yeah.
was like,
Oh man. That
yeah.
that was probably the most frustrating because there were some people that jumped on our live that were really depending on the money. And it wasn't millions of
Uh,
dollars. It was 50, 60, 70K. And it was like
yeah, whatever it
it's gonna
is,
change my life. Yeah, it's gonna get me out of the situation that I'm in.
Yeah.
This is gonna
And it's
be
nice to have a cushion. Like
yeah. Oh
that's what
yeah.
I mean, that's what I want. I want a cushion.
Now it could be worse. We could be saying, you know what, it was nice, but they rugged or something. But we're
Oh
not.
yeah, yeah.
No one's
I
saying
mean,
that, right? We know that's not
right, right.
happening.
Well, no. So, there was
Right,
some
right.
drama.
Oh,
Did you
there's
hear about
drama.
Keith the crypto farmer?
No, I
He's
have. What is
oh,
what
he
is
said that about Brian, that Brian rugged. So Brian banned him, and
How
that
did
was
he
some
rug?
drama.
He's giving all the. Isn't he giving all the
You
safety
don't
back?
rug with a refund, with a full refund. That's not a rug,
Yeah,
dude.
yeah. I don't understand
You
that.
don't get
Okay.
a do over with a rug.
Right, right. You don't get a do over. So that's my point is
Yeah,
that yeah, it didn't go as planned, great or sucks, but at least everybody gets a second chance. So now if you,
yeah,
I
exactly.
I mean, no one really gets the opportunity to say, let me try it again. And I think if you messed
Yeah.
up, there were some routing issues. I know there were some people in our live that were
Yes.
trying to route it through Bog Finance, and the routing jack was jacked up. So they were
Yeah.
they were missing out on minutes of trading.
Lots of
But
people did.
right,
Yeah.
but actually it was good because they don't have to worry about the refund because they still hold their safe food because it never went
Yeah,
through.
like Fowler. Fowler's one of
Right,
those
right,
people.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So yeah, Fowler came on last night. He made some very good points, saying that he's just buying the dip now in safe food. So
Yeah.
yeah,
There you
so
go.
I believe
Because he
there's
doesn't have
gonna.
to worry about his money being tied up.
That's right, right. So
So
I mean,
yeah.
they're gonna give it back. I mean, there's no way Brian's gonna come up and say,
Yeah.
hey, we're not giving it back, or
No,
it,
but he
they,
said like a week to 2 weeks. And I did read some comments where people were like, I put my life savings in there. And I'm like, oh,
yeah,
like, what are you going to do? Like, I
yeah,
feel
yeah.
bad. And I understand that you believed in the project, but you can't ever put all of your eggs in
Yeah,
one.
I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
we could say, hey, man, only invest what you're willing to lose. But if you were willing to lose your life savings, then you were willing to lose your life savings. That's all that says.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
but I guess not, because some
Yeah,
people that
but it
they don't
should,
get
but it
that.
shouldn't be lost because my understanding is, as I know today,
No, it's not lost, but like if that's your life savings, now you got 2 weeks where you thought you were gonna have extra, where now you
yeah,
have less.
yeah,
At
yeah.
least
No,
for a week to 2 weeks. So I do get it, but at the same time, like you should have held a little bit. But
yeah,
at least there's a do over, and that's all good.
yeah. So
So
hopefully the do over is certainly a do over, and people still get to make money at this thing. I think
yeah,
there's still
yeah,
money to be made.
yeah, for
I
sure.
was really looking forward to the arbitrage trading. I was going to wait to get in
Hmm.
after it went up. People sold, and then I
Yeah,
was going to buy in. I would
yeah.
eventually
Well,
like, oh, okay, the
looks like
drama's
it's
gone.
working out for you.
Yeah, yeah. Like everybody's okay. People made money. We got millionaires. We got people paying off bills. Whatever it is,
Yeah,
1 or 2 millionaires. Whatever it is, whatever the story would have been, I would have been cool. I would have been. I would have loved the marketing in that regard because it would have been like, wow, Brian said he was going to do this. People made money. It would have been good for Vulcan. And that's
yeah,
what I've been
yeah,
saying, that this was a great marketing campaign for Vulcan at the end of the day, because you guys know
yeah,
that I have I have 2 projects that I want to launch, one of them specifically on Vulcan, and so I want Vulcan to be successful. You
yeah, for
know,
sure, for sure.
I hold the node, and I'm ready for Gamma, and hopefully we get it in the next couple days, hopefully the next few hours, because we were told that it would be
Didn't they say it
24.
was hours away?
Yeah, but I think with ESCO, I think they don't want to be overshadowed by what's going on with ESCO, which is smart. So if they want to delay it a couple of days or a day,
Ah,
it
I don't
makes
want to
sense.
delay.
I don't want to delay either, but I understand why
I
they
get it.
would.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, because it's overshadowed, right? It's overshadowed. But and that is what it is. As long as it's not delayed a freaking month, then we're gonna have a problem. I'm like, well, dude,
yeah,
come on,
yeah.
because
Reapers.
I've got devs that I need to put to work, right?
Yeah,
And they're available. They've been waiting on me to make them to put some work to them, so that because they're available. What happens when they go Gamma? Now they're like, bro, I'm gonna need some time. I'm not available right now. You know, it's just I mean, they're not gonna wait on me, or they're not gonna wait on our team. Is my point. So that's
yeah.
why
No, I hear you.
that's where we're waiting on that Gamma to release, so we can put them to work.
All right. So Biz Entertainment says all safe food will be returned. The only thing anyone can complain or can I keep trying to say complain. I'm sorry, guys. That's a
Hmm.
Freudian slip. Can claim to have lost with some chain for gas. Yeah. So the gas fees, you guys will probably not be, refunded that
So
because that has nothing to do with Seifu and Seifu Go. That's
that's a question that I have, and maybe Prado can answer it in the morning. Maybe you can answer it. So if I had $1,000 worth of Seifu, because at the time, let's say it was when did the contract go live? When Seifu was about $1.80 or something like that.
I think
Whatever.
a little bit more. Yeah.
Let's say it was $2. So at the time of sacrifice, I sacrificed $1,000 worth of Seifu. Okay. So I know that I put 1,000. Obviously, there's no tax because there was supposed to be no tax. I believe during a swap.
I think they said no taxes. Yeah.
Right. So I should have gotten $1,000 worth of Esco. It wasn't 1-to-1, but it was not as far as the number of Esco, but the dollar amount should have been the same.
Right. Yeah. I know what you
Right.
mean.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now this happened. They're saying, guys, we're going to refund your Seifu. Am I getting the $1,000 worth of Seifu back, or am I getting 1,000 Seifu, or am I getting
No, I
2,000?
think you're getting what you invested. Like it's just like a credit card transaction. Doesn't
So
matter
I'm
what you bought. You're getting
because
what
but
you put
because
in.
say but remember, Seifu, the value of Seifu dropped during this. People started dumping. So if I traded at $2 when Seifu was $2, I'm just using a number, and now they're going to give me a refund, and Seifu is $1.35. Who's going to make up that difference? Who's going to make that 65 difference up?
Well,
65
they
cents
have
difference.
it all in like an account. So my understanding is you're just getting back what you put in, besides whatever the fees are that were for bog
No,
swap,
yeah,
pancake swap,
yeah.
whatever that is.
Okay.
So I don't think how Seifu's value really matters because they have all that money sitting here,
All that money. Well,
and
if
they're just going to give that back to you. It doesn't
well
change the value
the
of what you put in.
liquidity you're right on that, where the liquidity was moved over, it was swapped over to the esco liquidity, but in that interim, while people were swapping, people were dumping Seifu. So the
Yeah,
liquidity in actual Seifu itself was dropping because of people dumping Seifu. They weren't even
yeah,
swapping, they were dumping Seifu.
yeah. I
So
hear you.
maybe I'm sure they got it all worked out. I mean, but yeah, as long as people get back there, if I put $1,000 worth in, I get $1,000 back. I'm not
Yeah,
talking about 1,000 safe. I'm talking about dollar amount.
dollars. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And then
yeah,
if we do that, then we're good to go, right? 100%, right?
yeah. Refund's a refund. Doesn't
And
matter if you're
all
talking
right,
about
well, cool.
crypto. You're talking about
I'm sure they got it all figured out, which would be
yeah.
great. And then for the relaunch, then it should be gravy at that point.
Yeah,
Everybody,
because the bottom line is numbers will move all over the screen, but all that money is somewhere in an account that people put
yeah,
in. We didn't just put in
yeah,
fake stuff, the
yeah,
actual,
right,
so
right.
people
Yeah,
get their
liquidity was actually being moved.
money
In
back.
fact, if
Yes.
you go to the ESCO account now, they were already moving the liquidity. They already pulled it somewhere, pretty
Right,
sure.
right, right. And Brian said a few things, and Nacho came on Daniel's live last night too. So there were some things I think Brian would know more than obviously Nacho because he's a developer. But yeah, I mean, I've been in business, I don't know, I was in sales forever. Like
Mhm.
a refund's a refund. You can't
Yeah.
really change that. If you're talking about an exchange, that's a whole different thing. God knows what you're going to get back. But they're saying refund, so that means what you put in, you get back.
Okay.
Obviously,
So
like if you
that's
get
the
a
word.
refund for a product, if there's shipping fees, it's usually minus the shipping fees. So this is going
Yeah.
to be like probably minus the gas fees. But
Minus
that,
the fees. Yeah.
yep, whatever the
All right.
fees
Right.
are, yeah. But it
Because
wasn't.
if because back to the comment where you had people saying like, well, I put in my life savings. So let's say their life savings was 10 grand. Okay.
Mm-hmm,
10K. And there was $10,000 worth of safe food. They moved it to ESCO. They're getting the $10,000 at the time when safe food was worth $10,000. You had 20,000 safe food. Okay, let's just
mm-hmm.
say it. So they're going to give you 20,000, but right now safe food's worth $1.20, but $1.10 or $1.35. Then it wouldn't be relative to the liquidity that's in safe food right now. That $20,000 safe food is not going to be worth the $10,000. You heard what I'm saying? Because
I hear
the,
what you're saying, but
liquidity
that
there.
part doesn't really matter because whatever it is, like like your $10,000 is $10,000. Doesn't matter what Seifu is worth. You might get point 0.2 Seifu, but you're still your $10,000. So you could
Pull up
wait
that
for it
NR
to.
that comment from NR.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
sorry. He says, pretty sure we are okay. So what's up, NR? You still listening to me,
We'll
bro?
see.
Talk. You never let me talk, bro. You never let me talk. He's worse than Prado. I'm just joking. Pretty sure we are getting back the exact amount of Seifu back, but not the dollar amount. So that's my concern.
Yeah,
But I do know
we'll
that
see.
Seifu's pumping. So
Yeah,
I mean, maybe by the time they do the refund, it'll be right back where it was, and maybe it'd be off a few cents. Even $1 is cool, I think. At the end of the day, but
right.
as long as it's around that park, I think at ballpark, I think people will be cool with it because you know what they're going to do. They're going to try and do it again. They're going to try. We're going to be ready for the relaunch, right? And that's
Oh yeah, they said, but there's different stipulations now. Now it's not a stealth launch. Now they're going to give you the date and the time, and the contract address is already going to be out. So they did say those things were going to be
okay.
happening.
Good.
So
I know there is a
the stealth
limit.
was and there's
The,
there's a smaller window. I don't remember what it is, like a half an
so
hour, 15 minutes, 30
you're not going
minutes,
to be able to
whatever
buy
it
as
is.
much ESCO. There's going to be some sort of limit, which I think was probably
Yeah.
suggested at the beginning. Which
Oh
you
yeah, a
know,
lot of people were saying it, but
yeah, yeah,
it is what
which
it
makes
is.
sense.
You live and learn.
Yeah, you live and learn. Well, at least we're able to live and learn, and they're able to do a reset. Imagine living and learning and going, I won't get into something like that again unless there's a limit. Now we get to go back and say
No,
there's a
I mean,
limit.
listen, I would have been all right.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we
yeah,
did pretty well.
yeah. Right. Yeah, you'd have been all
But
right,
I
right?
hear what you're saying. I hear what you're
As
saying.
I was watching that price go up because we had it up on our channel, right?
Right.
He said Seifu is pumping. We have 10 to 15 days. I agree with you, NR. I think it's going to be right about where it was. At the end of the day, I believe that let's say it's not. Let's say it gets as high as $1.55. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden, let's say we're on the 14th day and it's only at $1.55. And people are gonna start talking, hey Brian, man, when I swapped it was $1.99, man. What's up, dude? I'm losing 25 cents here. I think Brian, because he's done it before, he's gonna be like, you know what? I'm gonna drop in 25 cents worth of liquidity. You know what I mean? I'm gonna bring it up to
Oh
where it
yeah, he might.
was. I mean, he's got the deep pockets. He could certainly do that. I
Yeah,
mean,
he
out of
said
the
he
kind of
lost money too,
yeah,
so
yeah. So
I'm sure
of
he
course,
helped out.
yeah, he lost 500K where people have lost 10,000. Well, 500K to him is nothing compared to someone losing 10,000.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
relativity.
And what I mean by yeah, it's all relative, right? So, but I think Brian will do the right thing, man. I think he'll not man, but Leona.
Yeah, he has up until
Yeah,
now.
I think he'll do the right thing and be like he'll make it right, and get it to
Yeah,
where it was, and then whatever happens after that happens. If people want to sell whatever, because he's done it before, I'm sure he'll do it again. He
yeah,
always listens to the community, right? and he tries to make it right. So,
Yeah,
but Brian,
he's a good guy. I
yeah,
know
yeah,
some people complain about him, but
yeah,
to be honest, sometimes the CEO has to be a CEO. Sometimes the CEO has to be a jerk. Sometimes they have to be a bit narcissistic to get it done. Because if they were punks or they were sheep or they were like, I would say like, I'm not gonna say that. And people take that wrong. But if they just weren't, as strong or bullheaded as they were, these kinds of people, they just wouldn't get it done. They'd
things
be
wouldn't
waiting for
get,
somebody
yeah,
else to do it.
yeah, that's right.
You
That's
gotta do what
right.
you gotta do. Like sometimes
I
with
agree with
Dano,
you.
it's like that, and I'm like, calm down. But he's got to do certain things, certain ways to get it done. Because who else is gonna do it?
Yeah, and then that's why he and I butt heads because I'm exactly the same way.
Yeah,
I'm just on Central Time. He's on CPT time.
that's
That's
the
the difference.
problem. It's because if you were in the East Coast, you guys would
Uh,
be besties.
yeah,
But
probably
it's
would. Yeah, I probably
Central.
would.
Central ruined you guys'
Well,
relationship.
I don't know, man. You know what? Because what's gonna happen is we're gonna go have coffee. He's gonna try and put sweet low in my coffee. I'm gonna get pissed off.
Whoa, no, we don't do sweet and low. That's
I'll
like
just,
people in
I'll
their
just,
80s.
I'm just joking. He does like I know he does sugar, right? He does whatever
Well,
he
he
does.
switched to sugar because he was doing equal. Was it equal? No, what's the yellow package?
Oh, is there a yellow package? There's blue,
Yes.
pink, and yellow.
Yeah, blue is equal and pink is sweet and low. And the yellow one, you know it. We all know it. Okay, so
Yeah,
whatever the yellow one is, he was doing that. And I'm like, there's bleach in that. And he's like, no, 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 because I research everything.
yeah,
And
yeah.
it's probably like, I don't know, maybe 5 to
Freaking
10 years.
sugar is it's processed. You know what I mean? It's
It
not.
is, but he's using natural sugar. But now
Yeah,
he just went like, I don't know, the past week where he's not using no sugar anymore, just like heavy cream or light cream, whatever the heck. I'm dairy free. But so
yeah.
yeah,
That's
he
good. That's
does
good.
that. And it's crazy. So I'm just like, all right, it's
Well,
cool. But he was doing that
it
before, and I'm
sounds
like,
like
that,
it sounds like he's ultimately going to be a straight black coffee like real men, you know, and he's
bitch.
gonna get over the bitterness and he's gonna realize this shit's good. You know, I drink straight black coffee straight up, or I drink an espresso, you know, whenever I need
Yeah.
it. And it cuts to the chase, gets to the point, gets it done.
I
Because
like the Cuban coffees, the cortaditos.
oh
Those are
yeah,
banging.
good. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
Vietnamese coffee. I like me some Cuban coffee's pretty good. But if you drink a coffee, remember anything you put in your body has to be for a reason. You know, if you're
Yeah.
putting, it's supposed to be a neutral. It's supposed to be some
Splenda.
sort of
That's the one.
Splenda.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
Of course, in our no Splenda. You know, bro, your eyes are like Splenda, bro. They're all.
Oh gosh.
He's gonna hate me for that one, man. But
Yeah.
no, but yeah, I drink coffee. I didn't start drinking coffee until I was like 37, 38. Honestly, I never drink coffee
No,
ever.
I had it when I was a baby. I literally have a scar right here from like pulling it down with I had like pajamas on, like feety pajamas. So
Oh, really?
anyway, yeah, because my mom would give it to me and she didn't give it to me fast enough. So I was like, what the heck? And I just grabbed it and I was one.
Oh,
And I
and you,
still
oh
have the
gosh.
burn because
Oh
it was in
man,
my she had to like rip my pajamas off because it was like
oh,
burning.
it's
So I still
burning you.
have it right there. Yeah,
Especially when
like the
you're
feety pajamas.
when you're a baby, your skin's so sensitive, you know.
Very
So yeah,
sensitive,
yeah. It doesn't
yeah.
take much. It doesn't take much to
Yeah,
scar
I
it.
still have that crap. But I was addicted and then I got older, I got like kidney problems, so I can't have caffeine now. But so I know you are like really heavy in that. I learned about you from the TCL community. Is that did you get into safe food before the TCL thing? Like, how'd you meet TCL? We met him in Dubai,
Yeah.
but I didn't know who he was before that. He's a great guy, very nice, very helpful, and genuine guy. But like, how did you get into his community? How'd you guys meet?
I got into the safe food community from like I said before, it was RJ. So I
Right.
was in the Safe Moon community. That was kind of like
Okay.
my biggest my I actually I went from Cardona to Bitcoin. I held Bitcoin. I bought some Ethereum and Litecoin. All these, you know, I was always doing all these forks and stuff, but not really seeing many gains. But it wasn't until when Doge hit the scene
Yeah.
and everybody, you know, and everybody started talking about Doge. I bought some
Yeah.
Doge. I think I put, if I remember, a couple $100, 300-400 bucks. It went all the way up to 15K. You know, almost 20, well, just over 26K, I think.
Hmm.
And I was like, oh, I was like, whoa, okay, shit. I should have put 3K in this thing. Um, and I remember just scrambling just to buy Doge. I was like, Binance, what the hell is Binance? You know, it's like it's the shit coin chain, you know, and so I mean I made some or not Binance, I'm sorry, Doge, right? Because it's it's a fork of Bitcoin. I remember I was like, and then I got in, and I'll get into Binance in a second. I bought some Doge and went up to about 30K, 26K ish, about the highest as it went. I say 30K rounded up. And then I was like, oh my God, this is going to go to 100K. Of course, it doesn't. As it starts to drop, I finally ultimately cashed out just under 15K or so. So now I had about 15K of just house money. Took my little initial out, $300 or whatever it was. And I'm like, what do I do with this? And then I'm looking, I'm like, this was the start of the meme. I think the meme bubble in a sense, the meme bull
Okay.
run where the alternate coins, right? Because all these altcoins were hitting the scene, these not really meme coins, but altcoins. Safe
Mhm.
Moon was one of them. I jumped into that one. I got in super early. And then that was probably the first time I realized that crypto isn't the problem. The people are the problem.
Oh, so were you looking for a community?
I was looking. I got into the Safe Moon community. It was huge. They had two
Okay.
million. They had 2 million subscribers, 2 million
Oh,
holders at wallets at one time, and they were kind of boasting that. And there was a couple of YouTubers that kind of hit the scene that became pretty famous. They went from zero to nothing. 20. They went from 0 followers to 20K followers. Okay.
right. Well, I mean,
Um,
with 2 million people in the
yeah,
community, of
yeah.
course.
Watching Safe Moon. Safe Moon was like, oh, they're doing this thing called reflections, kind of like rebasing. It's just another
Hmm.
same thing, another name.
Different term. Yeah, different
Yeah,
name.
different term. And it was Safe Moon was actually a fork of another project, and but this time they had a team that was doxed.
Hmm.
Right, they had some developers that were not really doxed, but well known in the community. They had marketing, they had all kinds of, they had influencers, big influencers pushing this thing. So it was like, oh shit, this they had
Was
big.
T Scale in there?
TCO started doing. He was in Safe Moon, but I didn't know of him then yet.
Oh,
He
okay.
would. So he and I were literally going through that roller coaster about the same time.
Ah, maybe with
So
Greek too. Greek was
yeah,
in there before.
and Greek was one of the Greek actually RJ was one of the Safe Moon guys, Safe
Hmm.
Moon YouTubers. That's who I started following. He was probably one of
Okay.
the first, and then Greek popped up in the scene, and then RJ kind of dropped off and says, "Man, I can't." He just kind of says, "Guys, too much drama, too much fun. I'm gone." Basically, in a nutshell.
Yeah.
But Greek kept pushing forward, man. The team's going to do this, the team's going to do that, and then ultimately Greek just he saw the writing on the wall, and
Okay.
I was following Greek, and
Yeah.
I was following RJ, both of them, but RJ I believe, got into Seifu before Greek did, and then RJ
Okay.
kicked over to Seifu, started showing the Brian Legend AMA, showing his
Mhm.
ID and all that, and I was like, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
I made
He
some
went all
money.
out.
I made some money with Safe Moon. I lost some money, made some money, but I was never really out of profit.
Okay.
I was always around. My wallet stayed about 20K the whole time. I was pretty happy with that. Took some profit, took some money out, and then I basically cashed out of Safe Moon. I didn't believe it anymore because of all the CEOs buying houses, the CEO buying a house, the developers just making a joke of the community,
Hmm.
making us look like idiots. Essentially, I mean, just the way they played us. It was pretty upsetting how you have damn near 2 million people really believing into this team,
Yeah.
and they turned out to be no different than all the other teams
Mm.
out there. And then RJ started talking about Seifu. Then I entered Seifu. I buy in. I started making some money. I didn't go 20K deep. I went like 1500. I went like
You had
fifteen
to
hundred
test
bucks.
the waters
Oh
first.
yeah, I threw 1,500 bucks in.
Yeah.
I've never lost money since. I've
Okay.
been in profit the whole way, even all the way up to my node and into the bag that I hold. So because I know when to take profit, I say it all the time.
Yeah.
Take profit. It's super important. Always take what you put in to get out and write house money, and then take that and take that arbitrage if you can. But my point is that write up as much as you can. But you got to pay attention.
Yeah.
So so
So
to,
then
to
TCL, how'd you meet him?
so in the midst of me being in the middle of Safe Food, a guy that I work with mentioned the TCL, the Safe Food Pulse. I remember catching one of his shows, and it
Yeah.
was about Safe Food, and I was like, damn, that guy's pretty amazing at graphics and the motion graphics and the animations. I mean, he had a pretty good presentation. He was
Yeah.
quick, he was short, and he was in and out. But man, I was like, I liked it. I
Hmm.
didn't have to listen to a guy talking for 3 hours like myself to get some meat on the bone, right? It was cool,
Yeah.
and it was very, 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 very efficient. And
Okay.
and remember, I work in 15-minute increments, so
Right.
that was like cake for me. I was like, I
Yeah.
love this guy. And then a buddy of mine that I work with was like, "Hey man, I'm actually part of the TCL Discord." I'm like, "You are? No shit." He invited me that same day. I got invited on, or that same week, I got invited on to do a live with those guys,
Oh
and the rest is
wow.
history. Yeah, the rest is history. So
Okay.
he was like, "Hey, I got a buddy. He's just bought into Seifu. He loves the Seifu Pulse. Here we go." You know, and my crypto, his name is Crypto Guy, is his name out there. And TCL was just so inviting, man. The whole community is so inviting.
Yeah,
There's
he is very
these
nice,
guys, yeah,
genuine
they're
guy.
very genuine. I mean, there's a lot of clowning that goes on, but man,
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I mean, NR and I are close, but TCL and I are just as close. I talked to
Okay.
the guy, you know, he's daily in a sense, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and he's real. He's opened up his life to me. Like I
Yeah.
get
He's
to,
told us some stuff.
yeah.
I
So
was shocked.
and that to me tells me he's a guy that's very trusting.
Yeah.
Okay, he's
Yeah.
trusting. He doesn't tell. And
Probably to a
remember,
fault for
yeah,
him.
we all can. Yeah, I'm in the same way to some degree, trusting to a fault. But he's shared so much where I was like, man, I like this guy, and he's funny as hell.
Oh my
Funny as
gosh,
hell.
I can't with
Okay,
that
Prado's
laugh.
funny, but TCL is actually funny on purpose. Okay, there's
Yeah.
there's a difference, right? There's a clown, and then there's the guy actually works as a clown. You know, and you know what I'm saying. But
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
but TCL's funny. You know, Prado's got good comedic timing. I mean, he's funny. He's fun. Prado's funny. I catch his jokes. I see what he says. I laugh all the time.
Yeah. Yeah.
He makes me laugh. So that's why I tune in. But
But even
TCL,
when lead, because well, I mean, I called him lead, but even when he is not really saying something funny, sometimes you don't even know what he's saying after just his voice. You know
yeah,
it's
the way,
about to be funny.
yeah. He's good at
Yeah. Yeah.
impressions. Yeah,
And then
he's
his
hilarious.
laugh is great. Yeah.
But the funny thing about TCL, or the great thing about TCL, is he could be extremely funny, and then he gets serious.
Right.
And when he talks serious, the guy just has a wealth of knowledge
Yeah.
about
And it's not
everything,
surprising. Yeah.
about crypto, about life, about business, about relationships. The guy is just like, you call me the philosopher. TCL's a philosopher.
Yeah, he's a deep guy. He
Yeah,
is. And it's
I learned
surprising because he's such a jokester and a
yeah.
laugher, but like he definitely is
That's
very
to me, that's
pensive.
his superpower. He
Yeah.
disarms you, and then he edifies you. That to
Yeah.
me is an amazing human being. And so I learned a lot. I was able to jump in that community, and I love the community. And the rest is history, you know. And from that,
Yeah.
I got to be a part of the entire Seifu community, you know,
Mhm.
Vulcan and Seifu, and then now, you know, as a whole, all these
Mhm.
communities that have, there's a lot of forks going on, a lot of
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
projects coming out of it.
All
But
these
you know,
discords.
we're all part of the same. At the end of the day, we're all from the same. We all have the same DNA of Seifu, you know.
Yeah.
And what is that DNA? It isn't Seifu. The DNA, I believe, what unites us all isn't Seifu. What unites us all is that we all want the opportunity. Give
Mhm.
me the opportunity to make my own way, and you've got me, you know. And
Yeah.
I believe Seifu, you know, and I don't think it was on purpose. I think Brian started Seifu, and he was like, "Whoa, we got something here." Oh my god! I don't think I don't think he realized what it was going to be, but he's been
No, I
trying
don't
to.
think he realized
But
what it was going to
I
be,
think
but he
he's been
hoped.
trying to be a good steward of it along the way, which is, you know, which is good. You know, he knows that he knows what he has. You know, you
Yeah.
hear me say it. You hear me say it. I haven't said it all. I haven't said it in a while. They need us more than we need them. And I believe that, you know, Vulcan, Brian Legend, and the team, they know that, so they're trying to do right by us, which is why the refund, and I think he'll make it right if he needs to. I mean, I have no
Yeah.
doubt. I have no doubt, right? So I am excited about Vulcan. I mean, I want
Yeah, for
Vulcan to
sure.
launch. We all are, guys. We all are. When I said the other day, yesterday, I hope people make a lot of money out of the ESCO, because I truly believe the community deserves it. We have been on such a freaking roller coaster,
Oh,
you know,
definitely.
let
Yeah.
letdowns and setbacks and letdowns. People need something, you
Mhm.
know. And if Brian Legend doesn't give them something, someone else will. Such is life, such is human nature,
Yeah.
such is the free market, you know, the marketplace. So I believe Brian wants to be the guy that make it happen. So
Yeah,
here you,
like according to what he says and what he's done, and you know, I met him and I listened to what he says. Like I don't get all involved like a lot of people do, but I do like that. And Danny's generally a pretty good judge of character. So that leads me to my next question: how did you meet Daniel?
Daniel, I was of course Daniel hit the scene with his Seifu videos, and so obviously like I like everybody else was just was hooked.
Yeah, I thought
Daniel.
you maybe met from like the TCL thing,
No,
or
no. Well, actually, because I was part of the TCL community, obviously, there has been and there has been certainly a there's no longer a grand communication of sense, between the communities, TCL and the Seifu, obviously for obvious reasons. That goes
right?
without saying. However, I remember I was already watching Daniel's videos, and the guy would make me laugh. Daniel can make me laugh, and if you can make me laugh, I'm gonna pay attention
Right.
because I love to laugh at myself. I never, I mean, I say a lot of serious things, but I never take myself too serious. If you can't laugh at yourself, then you have no damn right to laugh at anybody else. At the end of the day,
I laugh at myself and everybody all the
yeah.
time. Just
I
get me
mean,
in the background, and like all the
we talk
time.
about freedom of speech and everything. To me, journalism obviously is, is supposed to hold governments accountable, and governments expense, is obviously important. You don't want to talk politics, but they control and rule our lives. But comedians, if comedians in comedy in my opinion is the absolute profound way to hold governments and people accountable, because you can make if a government doesn't tolerate to be made fun of, that is a government you should fear. Okay, so
Yeah, it's part of our culture. Like that's
yeah.
how I grew up.
um,
It's
it's
definitely
Amer-
American. I don't know how it is
it
everywhere,
it's
but
not like
it
that
seems like
everywhere.
it.
You're right. That's exactly right, Leona. It's not like that everywhere. So in America, we're like, well, yeah, we can laugh at the president. I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, he's going to be famous on SNL. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Every president is. But whenever a government starts to stop that, not even, and the government doesn't come out and say, we can't no longer say these things, it becomes a trickle down where
yeah.
it
They just
becomes,
shut it. They start shutting it down on
yeah,
lower
yeah.
levels, and
That's
it
that's
grows.
when that's when there's
Yeah.
concerns. But back to Daniel. Daniel made me laugh. I was hooked, and then of course I'm watching the whole, the evolution of Seifu and over to Seifu X and
Hmm.
then Vulcan, and then I'm already part of the TCL community. I was real close to these guys. TCL goes over to Dubai, hangs out
Yeah.
with Daniel. Those guys hit it off pretty good. So yeah, so it was almost like a friend of TCL's is a friend of mine, and then
Right.
I got invited onto one of Daniel's shows,
Yeah.
and the rest is history. He and I, and then once he realized that I'm not, I don't bleed blue. He was like, what? He was like, what are you talking about? You're brown. All brown people bleed blue. And I was like, no, bro, we don't, man. He's gonna be pissed that I said that,
Oh,
but
yeah, that's weird because it's a weird thing in his family. A bunch of his family members are Republicans, and a couple of them are not. Like, listen, I'm like you. I'm probably more American than you as far as how long we've been here and stuff like that. And like, I find it strange. Like, I mean, I know his mom's American now, but like, she has an accent. It's thick, and she came here when she was 13. So like, for me, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm like, you're not really American. Like you
oh
bought
no,
into America, but you know
yeah,
what I'm saying? Like I would never move to another country, live there. I don't care if I live there for 60, 70 years. I'm still going to be the American. And that's just
yeah,
how it
yeah.
goes. But
Well,
it's like different when you come to America. Everyone feels like you're supposed to assimilate and become American and abandon wherever you're from.
mm,
And it's weird, like, So it's just,
did she assimilate, or she still have her roots to Cuba or
no,
Puerto?
they came over here as a way to like get away from Castro. So
Yeah,
she
which
had a
blow
little bit of contact with her parents, but
which blows my mind because I know Prado, I know Daniel, he's Democrat, right? Obviously
I mean, you know,
well, I mean, from my conversations with him, like,
he's as Democrat as you are Republican. Yeah,
okay, well, that makes a lot
yeah,
of
yeah,
sense
yeah,
then. All right, I'm not
yeah,
Republican, so I got you,
exactly. So
so remember, so if you were to ask, well, why are you Kryptonian as a freaking Hispanic American? They'll call me Mexican American. No, bro, no, ma'am. I'm American that happens to be of Mexican descent. I am American first. And what does that mean to me? Um, just that I grew up here. This is my country. I truly believe that a country can only be sovereign from the by the language, the culture, and the borders. If one of those things fall off, we are no longer sovereign. If you are no longer sovereign, you're not going to last. It's downhill after that. So what surprised me about talking to Daniel was,
Look
you
at
know,
NR's comment. Who would have thought Kryptonian talked long enough to kill my earbuds?
oh, bro, hey, because hey, NR, I'm kind of a big deal, bro. I got that from watching you, homie.
Yeah, yeah. You
Yeah,
told us in the beginning.
he's like, yeah, I'm kind of a big deal. Yeah, I mean, he
Yeah,
didn't
but
say it, but
yeah, American. I feel the same way. Like I don't say African American. I don't unless you're gonna say European American because they'll say Asian American,
yeah,
Hispanic American, blah blah blah.
I
Yeah,
understand why they do it, but
no,
you know,
but they don't do it for Europeans
no, you know why?
because
Because
Africans and natives were here first.
it's all about divisive. It's all about dividing and conquering.
Yes,
So if
exactly. That's why I don't use that term.
that's right, I
Never
don't.
him use it.
You know, I never call. I mean, I never call black people. Are you either black or you're white or you're Mexican or you're Asian,
Yeah, I just
either
call people
East or
American. If
Western
you
Asian.
want, if
Yeah,
you
I
want a
don't
little
ever call
extra,
you
I'll give you
African
whatever.
American. I don't call you. I mean, for think you got to think about the logic. If I follow that logic, and I have been told once. Who said that I wasn't logical? Oh, that would be Fowler in your interview. I'm actually extremely logical. I actually follow logic in
Yeah,
every in all my walks in my entire walk of life. But if I follow the logic of calling you African American, then I have to. Then what am I? Am I South Mexican American? Am I am I North American, North Mexican? I mean,
yours is a little confusing though because
exactly. I
it
mean, if
was
you look at
Mexico before America took it.
that too, if you look at
Huh.
Mexico and South America,
Yeah,
am I Venezuelan? Am
Central
I am
America.
I Honduras? Am I, you know what I mean? So the point is
Yeah,
it gets very complicated. So I don't. Which part of Africa are you from? You know what I mean? Because in Africa they speak 100 different languages. You know what I
it's a
mean?
continent. Yeah,
Right. So
yeah, yeah,
so to me, you're either American, you're Britain. If you're in that country and you're a citizen, that's the country that that's where you live. So, but for me,
yeah. I don't subscribe to that.
yeah, it's very and I know Daniel doesn't either. I mean, Daniel will
No,
say some
no.
things.
He sounds like what you said because he's like, oh, my mom's here, she's American. And I'm like, no, you're first generation American. I'm like, from what I know, I was talking to NR.
Yeah,
I had to stop doing my ancestry search when I found a slave master grandfather and a slave. Like, that's crazy. But I go
wow,
hundreds of years here. Same with you. But mine, I don't have like my part was another country. You know what I'm saying? Like before they bought it. So that's what I was thinking. I was like, I'm probably more American than you, but similar. And I'm
I
Native
got you
American
saying,
as
yeah.
well. But you know what I'm
Well,
saying? Like he's not like that. He's of the mindset of like, okay, you're born in America, you're American. And I'm like, you're you know, you're first
yeah,
generation American, and
yeah,
then
your
your
first generation,
history's over there. Like my
yeah.
history isn't anywhere until you go way, way, way. I feel like if you're here for like 500 years or more, I'll just say I'm
Like
like I'm just
Native
out there. But
American, right? So my dad is from my dad's family is, as I said, they were in the Texas area long
yeah,
before Texas was purchased by the United States.
yeah,
My mom, her family comes from North Texas and Oklahoma, so my mom is half Native American.
yeah.
So I'm a mutt. You know what I mean? I'm not even
Well, no,
purebred.
because that's what Mexicans are. They're
Yeah,
native
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
they're Spaniards. So it's
Right,
that's just
right.
your whole thing is just mixed the same way that a lot of like Black
Yeah, and
Americans
that's
are.
probably
That's
where
what it is.
back to the very first question. That's where my warrior, I think,
Oh, it's in
mentality.
the blood.
It's in the blood. My mom, is my mom's family is just they just do not quit. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, it's good.
they just keep getting up, and my dad's is more. It's funny. My mom's side of the family is, I would say the yeah the fighters. My
Yeah.
dad's side of the family is, let's sit and talk about it. Let's be logical. Let's analyze. My dad it was obviously in the Marines, but he was an engineer draftsman by trade. All
Oh wow.
my uncles were all engineers and draftsmen, and all pipeline and designers and architects and these
So
things.
kind of like NR.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
kind of
right.
like an engineer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
And my cousins, most of my family on my dad's side have graduated from Rice, and in college, extremely college educated. They live on the West Coast,
Hmm.
whereas my mom's is all Texas, and they're just like, rough, and it just let's just fight,
Workers. Yeah,
Yeah,
fight.
workers. Right.
I'm
So
the kind of person, I'm logical and I want the details and the facts. But then if there's a reason, I'm going to fight.
Yeah, I love fights, but I always. With that being said, I choose my battles.
Oh yeah,
Okay,
of
of
course.
course, yeah.
Yeah,
But I will never back down.
same.
I'm of the mindset. I may have lost the battle, but I will win the war.
Oh
You know,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
you may think you have defeated me. You've only delayed the inevitable of me winning, defeating you. That's just, and remember what I said, I never go into anything without the mindset of I will be successful. I will.
Yeah.
It's inevitable. It has to happen or I'm wasting my time. And remember, I
I
do
don't like
not
wasting time.
I can't waste time. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So since you're a girl dad, do you feel like there's more pressure on you to protect your family, like
100%.
as far as like with the guns and everything, you know?
Yeah, that's a very good question. Yeah, and yes, I would say yes to all that. So
Okay.
remember when I said that my daughters are, so I have four heartbeats now, right? So I have my
Yeah.
first two daughters. Yeah. So my daughters, my first two daughters, my biological daughters, my first and second heartbeat. The reason I call her my first heartbeat, I was 22, 21 when my first daughter was born. I was very young, and I thought I was a man and had it figured out. I was young, I was invincible.
Yeah.
I thought the world could never ever do any. I'm a man. I'm the world cannot hurt me. The moment I have my daughter, and I'll never forget when she was born and holding her, and I remember crying, and I cried, guys, especially when you hold your baby. And I remember telling her this, that I will do everything in my power to make the world a safer place for you. Because
Oh, that's tough. That's a
at the
tough promise to
it
keep.
is, and understandingly, and remember, she's my world. So in my world, that she's living in my world at that moment. She's
Yeah.
growing up in my world, and that's what I mean. I
Yeah.
don't mean I don't mean
No, I
geopolitically
know,
or,
but right in the bubble.
yeah, in the
Yeah,
bubble.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so at that very moment, I was like, I have to do everything I possibly can for her, to
Hmm.
protect her. I got to make sure that I live up to what a man is supposed to be to make the world a safer place in my community. Because that's the circle of influence that I have.
Yeah.
And so that became basically my lot in life. And then when I had my second daughter, it was to the second power. So
Right. To say even
so
stronger.
so having daughters really just at that point in time, I mean, if I had sons, yes, I'm a man, right? I mean, I got a boys, right? I got boys, but but being having daughters, it really sobered me in a sense where, like,
Oh yeah, yeah.
okay, the world is dangerous out here,
Mm-hmm.
and I've got to make sure that I equip my daughters
Mm-hmm.
to be able to the best of their ability, at their level of ability, right? I mean, we're all no
Yeah.
none of us
Like
are
after
invincible.
you can't, they gotta be able to do it.
Right, right. So that's been my whole purpose in life,
Mm-hmm.
and I got my daughters to a point where they're adulting now. They're taking care of themselves. They're working. They're tough as nails. They're extremely
Yeah.
logical. They can critically think on their own. Um, they didn't get brainwashed with social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not super liberal. They're not super. They're not far right. They're not far left. They're
Right.
actually
They're
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 actually
well balanced.
well balanced, right? They have empathy. They understand sympathy.
Mm-hmm.
They have, they understand what the difference between wisdom and knowledge. I mean, point is I threw it all at them. You
That's
know,
good, but that's what you have to do. You can't baby them and coddle them and act like they're little, sugar
that's right.
plum fairies.
So
Like they don't need to be
I
acting
never,
like boys either. But you
yeah,
be your feminine self
yeah,
and be strong in what
yeah.
you are.
I would
So
always teach
yeah,
my daughters that, that the power that they would yield. I would tell my daughter, I said, look, you will not have the strength of a man, but you will be more powerful than any man could ever imagine. By the power that you yield over men as a women,
yeah.
because men will rule and destroy. Men will create. I would tell my daughters, you could create a life. Men destroy lives with war and violence and all these things. So you, as a woman, as a young lady, have the power to stop that, to stop a man in his tracks from that happening. You yield so much
Yeah.
power. And so I would try to teach my daughters that you have so much more value than what the world tells you have. And that's kind of, and I
Oh yeah, 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 for
and
sure.
that's kind of been how I've raised them. So now I have two other daughters who
You got to
stepdaughters
do the
who
same thing.
yeah, and fortunately by the grace of God, I mean, it's like I'm at a point where I'm like I there are things I wish I could have said to my other daughters that
Oh, you got another chance
I get
now.
another chance, and it was with
Yeah.
the great thing is Leona, my oldest daughters, as the family is now, it's dynamic, obviously, and they love their new stepdaughters, and I get to watch them
Step
interact.
sisters.
Yeah. Oh, and the love is just instant, but they love each other. And the great thing about that is the amazing thing about it is I get to watch my daughters
Yeah.
teach their stepsisters what I taught them.
That's
And
cute because you don't
yeah,
have to wait now
yeah,
until
yeah.
they have kids and for them to
Yes,
teach their
yes.
own kids. You can
Yeah.
see it in the middle, like in the
Yeah.
interim.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I get to enjoy it with my wife, and it's just I love my life. I
Yeah, dynamics are changing, but
I
it's nice when it
absolutely
works
love my life.
in your favor.
I don't have regrets. I would say I have disappointments. No regrets, but
I have
disappointments.
regrets, but
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I had a
Yeah.
friend. It was my best friend's older brother. He passed away a few years ago, but he used to always say, "No regrets, live life with no regrets." I'm like, dude, I have regrets, but I hear what you're saying. I like that mentality. So this is gonna be my last question.
All right.
What are
Yeah.
your Vulcan projects, Kryptonian?
Oh yeah, guys. To sum it up, guys, we have Property Flex, right? As you guys know, we have Property Flex, and we're trying to bring a project to Vulcan that actually is tied to real world assets. As you know, we have a great team assembled. We have In Our Legend, who is my brother from another mother. I love that man. And I can say that, confidently, securely as a man, as a heterosexual male.
Yeah,
But you know what I'm saying? No, the man has so much integrity. He calls me on my shit. I could be on a ledge. Hey, what's up, man? He always brings me down. And it takes only a few men in my life have been able to do that. So I'm blessed to have him as a business partner. And then we had the absolute pleasure of being introduced or meeting. We're actually NR and I we're DJs, man. We're from the streets, man, in a sense, right? And then we had a guy named Milky. Okay.
oh yeah.
Right. He actually reached out to us. So NR and I are like, bro, us really? But I every time I'm on the line with Milky, I learn from this guy. The guy, I call him Winston Churchill. One of my favorite prime ministers, I guess you would say, or leaders in the world is Winston Churchill. I call him Winston Churchill. He knows why, but not because he has an English accent, because the man when I was gonna say Winston Milky actually he just we'll be backstage. We're talking about our Property Flex project. Yeah, we'll talk about meat and potatoes, but then he'll say some things that just resonate with me and my principles and the way I live my life. And
Yeah.
what amazes me about it, Leona, is that we're on he's on the other side of the pond, and he and I are so similar in so many ways. Like, I get what he's saying. We both want
Surprising.
the
He seems like a very different guy from you.
Oh, he is. Yeah. He calls me on my he's the guy that he'll crack a joke, and I'm like, damn, I can't believe he'll call me out so many times.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the proper version of a Prado, in a sense, where Prado would be like, what I mean is Prado is just rough,
Yeah.
blam.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but Milky does the same jab, but he does it with an English accent. It's like,
This sounds so much
and I'm
nicer.
like, well, thank you for insulting me. I don't think I've ever felt that way before. I appreciate it. But no, but
Right.
in all seriousness, Milky is a great guy. Extremely, I love that. I love that he loves crypto.
Hmm.
But most importantly, Milky, we have NR who you guys know I respect tremendously. Is my brother from another mother. Milky, who actually is, he has so much edge. He loves to teach.
Really? He
Yes. Oh
seems
yeah.
like he'd be a cool teacher.
Oh, he is.
Sure.
And he doesn't, he says, I don't like to talk, but if you actually sit down and talk with the guy, you will walk away with, damn, I didn't know that. I mean, he's very, very
Right.
wise. And then we
Yeah.
have a new addition to the team, which is Richard, or a crypto legend, who I haven't had the opportunity to sit down and talk with him a lot, but he's a friend of NR's, and any friend of NR's is a friend of mine. But I will tell you this, but between Milky and Crypto Legend, we have a great team for Property Flex. We cannot wait to bring this utility, this real world utility to the Vulcan blockchain and to many other blockchains. But we're hoping we get to launch on the Vulcan blockchain first.
Right.
That's because when this whole thing was Milky's idea, and he thought, and it was conceptually constructed from the mechanisms of the Vulcan blockchain. It made sense to him, so
Mm-hmm.
he threw a light paper together, and of course we all met about it. It makes sense, so we're hoping we can bring this to the communities. Obviously,
Well, I'm pretty interested in property flags.
yeah,
So.
yeah, me too. Right? Obviously, I mean, I'm not a real estate guy, but I know that sounds like, what do you mean? Of course, it's your project.
Yeah.
I'm very, but understandingly, I feel I'm so humbled by the fact that when I'm in the room with these guys, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
remember, I say this: if you're the smartest guy in the room, if you're the smartest guy in the room, you're in the wrong
Need to
room.
go to another room.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not the smartest guy in the room in that regard, and I'm not, and never
Yeah.
really am in any other room, in any other rooms I'm in. But I learned so much when those guys start talking. I'm just like, I'm taking it in. I always feel. Remember, if you're not adding value to someone's life, you're wasting their time. You're wasting their life energy. Every
Yeah.
time I'm in a conversation with those guys, I leave edified. I leave like I feel like I learned something. So
That's
that's how I
good.
know. That's how I know I'm on the right team. And if I
Okay.
believe that so much, I believe we're going to bring so much value. And at the end of the day, we're going to bring real utility to blockchain because it's going to be
Yeah.
tied to real dirt. And God ain't
Yeah.
making.
Which is, people always need somewhere to live.
That's right. That's
So
right. Real
yeah,
dirt.
that's why I think it's a great thing.
Yeah.
Like Dano's investment in
Yeah.
to an extent, real estate.
Yeah. Well,
He's changed the way he does it over the years, but it's always a good thing to be in. So I like that.
yeah.
What else besides property flex? I know you
And
guys have a
the
bunch of stuff, right?
and the last, yeah, the one we've got a couple of things, but the ones that we're actually got that have meat and potatoes that we're ready to talk about now is of course, well, there's one more I'll talk about, but is of course eco token. So eco
Right.
token, we're in talks with another blockchain that's currently in testnet, about to launch here, I think in the next 2 months. So
Mm-hmm.
we're in negotiations with these guys, and this one has to do with carbon credits and carbon credits and reducing your carbon footprint. If you're into the green energy, saving the planet, those types of
Yeah,
things,
definitely.
which is all important. We're bringing more or less, basically, we're bringing the same sort of utility. We have a company that I'm a part of, who happens to be the guy that's actually the CEO of that company, is one of
Mm-hmm.
my best friends. He's
Ah,
been
yes, you
wanting
mentioned him.
he's
Mm-hmm.
been wanting to get in crypto, and it's just such a time as this. It's all
Yeah.
starting. The stars are starting to align, and so he wants to bring what he does real world, doing those things I just talked about, reducing carbon footprints, and bringing and offering carbon credits and all these things, and actually contributing to the issues of today, which is the green energy, or I would say climate change. All
Yeah, yeah.
at the end of the day, there's regulation coming, right?
Okay.
And so there's, whenever there's regulation, there's opportunity, and it is what it is. I'm not, me, I'm all about government out of my pockets, but when they do get an opportunity to regulate, there's opportunity.
Yeah.
My best friend here was able to capitalize on the opportunity. We're bringing eco tokens, so we're excited about that one. So I've got two projects
Okay.
ultimately that are on the ready, as we say in Texas, lock and loaded. That we're getting ready to bring to the communities. And of course, we've got Prism Chain. As you know, part of the TCL community, we're building an actual layer zero blockchain. Guys, that's still happening. Just be patient. I'm waiting on some more updates from our devs in TCL, because TCL is the lead on that. And so it's still happening. I know we haven't heard a lot about it, but we're not going to talk about it unless we got something to bring you. Right
Yeah.
now, we're just putting the pieces together. So just be patient for that. We'll be talking to that really soon. In fact, I was just talking to one of the lead devs this morning, and yesterday actually, and yesterday morning. Not to give up too much, but I don't want to give up anything because he'll
You
be
heard
pissed
it here
at me.
first.
Yeah, you heard it here first, but it's still happening. He's actually showing me. I wouldn't say showing me. He's confirming with me where we're at on this project on Prism Chain, which of course is relative. The TCO community. We also have Arbitrimium, ARM. ARM has nothing to do with Prism. We're not using ARM at all to fund Prism. Prism is a layer zero blockchain that's funded by the core, has nothing to do with any other token. So we're excited about that, right? So we got a lot of things happening in ours, as
Yeah.
well as obviously in the Prism and ARM community. So we're very busy. We're very, on part, as well as running our businesses. So, uh, but
Right. And
but I've
families. Yeah.
and families. So, but I'll say this lastly is to sum it up is crypto is the last frontier for me. I've had an IT company. I've been in IT for 20 plus years, just plus years, 20 just about plus years. I'm not that old. And but I would say all my years of being around people, building networks, supporting networks, and most importantly, building relationships and managing the relationships, sustaining the relationships with real people that have real lives and real families. All that training and experience and stuff that I've been going through all these years has prepared me for such a time as this. And I believe that's for the crypto space. And to me, this is the last frontier of Kryptonian. This is where I will make my last stand in my life, and it will be in the crypto space. I hope to change my lives, and leave a legacy not only for myself, but for those in my circle. So there it is.
All right. One more question. Are
There
you
you
going to be wearing a costume at any time when you're making your last stand?
go. Yeah, I'll be. If I had to wear a costume,
You
geez.
gotta get it made with the Julian.
Yeah, Julian. Yeah. By
Yeah.
the way, you just doxed me, but hey,
You
my name
said
is.
it online before. That's why I
Yeah,
didn't ask
my
because
name's
you
Julian.
said
My
it.
first name is Julian. Yeah, but yeah,
Yeah.
you heard it here first. It's not Nick Reynolds. All right, it's not Nick Reynolds.
I, dude, I was like, what are the N and
Yeah,
R? What could they be? Yeah,
yeah,
that was
yeah. Well,
bad. That was a bad
I
guess.
remember when NR told me his name, and I was like, because I'm from Houston, right? I was like, I knew exactly who he was. He's a famous
I knew it
baseball
because
player. I
of
was like,
yeah
bro,
baseball, but I was like that name was so old. I don't even know how it popped in, but I
yeah.
used to know about baseball years ago.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah. I grew up. I love baseball. I absolutely love it.
yeah,
I grew up Astros and Astrodome, and it was,
yeah. So he was saying different things. I was like, oh, I think I kind of remember the logo
yeah,
with an A and with the
yeah,
wing
yeah,
or whatever.
yeah.
Yeah.
I love
Now I'm like,
baseball, and that's probably why he and I get along so well. But
yeah,
yeah. So if I had to wear a costume, it definitely wouldn't be an astronaut spacesuit. I tell you that. That's
dude,
just
we need a part two,
real
and
part two. Then
we'll
part
do
two, we're gonna
that.
ask the real questions about Kryptonian.
Yeah,
Like,
because I definitely
like,
still have some questions here in my notebook. But Biz did say that he's waiting for info on the eco project to
yeah,
share. So you
yeah.
give him
So
that, and then he'll be able to put it in there.
yeah,
And
absolutely. Absolutely. You're gonna be the first to know, Biz, especially when we're gonna do a live about it. So, um,
breaking
you,
news.
yeah. What's this?
Brian Legend announcement: the refund process has started. To everyone who swaps Seifu tokens directly for Seifu Go, you will be refunded the exact amount of Seifu back to your originating wallet.
Oh,
That's
good
what
to know.
NR was saying. So,
Good
yep.
to know. Yep. Good to know.
All right, good
You heard
stuff.
it here.
Thank
Good
you,
stuff.
Biz.
Thanks, Biz. Thanks. Appreciate that,
And
man.
thank you, Kryptonian. Thanks for being here, being so
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah. Of
And
course.
yeah, we'll have to do part two. I'm not sure when,
Oh, hey,
but yeah,
whenever.
this is
I'm always
great.
available. Thanks for the invite. I really
Yeah,
appreciate you
definitely.
asking the questions and letting me rant. Most importantly, Leona, I really appreciate you letting me talk without any interruption, because typically coming out of that household is,
Okay,
anybody with the name Prado, last name Prado. No, I'm just joking. I'm
I
joking.
didn't change my last name, so you're safe.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, yeah. My wife actually, my wife changed her last name, obviously, to my last name, and she was like, I'm not gonna do that. I'm like, why? I don't know. I don't really care, but
Yeah,
but
yeah. He
but
was
her name would have been that
fine
long.
years ago when I told him, but then when we actually got married, he was like, "What's going on?" I thought this, that, and the other. I was like, "Listen, I could start writing it down if that's really what you want." But the truth
I'll write
is,
little hearts and stuff if you want, right?
no, I could put it anywhere I want. I could do it in insurance and all that. I just don't feel like getting a new social security card and getting a new license.
At
So I
the
told him if he
at the
does
end
it, then I'm fine.
at the end of the day, it's all state, federal it's for the
Yeah,
courts. It's
yeah,
really all it's for. So they
yeah.
so they can
It's just an
follow.
AKA.
That's all it is. Yeah, I agree
Yeah.
with you. At the end of the day, marriage isn't a name. It's actually just, it's the, I don't know what I'm talking about. Nuclear
It's a
families, but
covenant
it's
between
a
the man and the
covenant. It's a
woman.
covenant. That's where it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
I told him that. That's the only reason why I agreed to stay with him while we weren't married for so many years. I was like, because we're making an agreement before it's a paper. I'm like, yeah, I like the paper because of my culture, but that's not really what it is. The paper doesn't matter. I know people have been
Yeah.
married a lot of times, so
Well, it's all about culture, as you say. they're told you got to get the name change, you got to get the paper and all this stuff. But but I think what they should be taught first is it's a covenant first,
Yeah,
and then everything else is just
it's
cornflakes.
secondary. Yeah,
It is.
cornflakes. I'm allergic to corn.
Really? Yeah, it's not. It doesn't really hold any value, anyways. Remember, so
No, it does. They say that, but it does. I looked it up.
oh,
But
does
I
it? Yeah,
love frosted flakes. I'm so allergic, but I love them. So I will not even buy
yeah.
them because I'll eat a whole box the whole day and forget every other food
Nah.
exists. Just keep
My
eating them.
favorite cereal is Cookie Crisp.
Cookie
So
Crisps are good.
yeah,
Daniel likes Fruity Pebbles.
of course he did. Yeah, I like Cocoa Pebbles, right? But Fruity Pebble. I mean,
He has those. He has those downstairs. And my
those
son
are
was like,
like, man, those are
"Who eats
freaking.
these?"
That's my secret stash. The last thing is Cookie Crisp. I love chocolate chip cookies. Obviously the cookie
Yeah,
skillet.
that's
I
all
mean
I make.
obviously. So
Yeah.
you put cookies in a bowl with milk. I don't gotta tip nothing. It's already floating. You
Oh
know what I mean? I
gosh.
don't. It's over.
No,
But
no milk for me. I just do the
yeah,
cookies. Yeah.
yeah,
But
yeah. I know
it's
milk
cool.
matter for you, but 100%.
All right, man. I will I know you always say you're gonna see people in the blockchain, but I'll see
Yeah.
you in the comments. All
Yeah,
right.
I will see you in the comments. Absolutely. Thanks, Fiona. I appreciate the time. It was
All
fun.
right. Have a good night. Thanks,
All right, you
guys.
too.
Thanks for watching.